The 42 of Macaulay doesn't sustain too much damage because the decks and sponsons on that 12 of Trident Schleicher are carbon fiber. The 42 of Macaulay, that's an all-wood boat, but Schleicher kind of popped him there and took off into the stratosphere. And it looks like the 24 of Shelby Love's able to get back out on the water, and she's going to be able to stay on the lead lap, which is huge for her. But the 42 of Macaulay looks like we might have some damage on that boat because he's really struggling to turn that boat. Thankfully, he got hit on the right sponson, not the left, but now he's having to battle with the 2 of Travis Thompson as the 12 of Schleicher just kind of walks it into the distance. We might see a runaway victory here by that young man.
Travis Thompson's going to be on the outside as he starts to hug the buoys close in. It looks like Hans slid way outside. We've got one driver trying to keep it close, the other one sliding out. This might be a little bit close coming into turn number 1. Look at Travis on the outside, Hans on the inside.
And Travis now have to kind of hug it a little tighter there as he stays in the outside hip of the 42 of Hans Macaulay, but they got to watch out because they've got the 66 of Sober, Set Parch, the 67 of Sober out there, and then all of a sudden here comes Shelby Love. She was able to stay on the lead lap because remember, the first half a lap around isn't actually a lap, right? They don't start until they hop across that start-finish line. She was able to file into last place, so she's on the lead lap, which was huge for her because she gets a lap down. There's not enough time left for her to gain that lap back.
But she's going to have a lot of traffic to get through because it looks like Schleicher is about a half a lap ahead of her. So she's going to have to weasel her way through 6 boats and then try and catch up to him.
Well, you know, I mean, she proved to herself in qualifying heat number 1, I can do it. I can run through the pack. I can chase these guys down. Will she have enough time to chase down Sober and Parch? I don't know if she's going to get in the top 2, but she could get up and duke it out in that last lap with Travis Thompson. We know what happened last time between those two on the final lap.
Then she's going to go from the outside, trying to find some kind of clear water, trying to stay out of trouble. Shelby Love in the 24 of Clover Construction, but our leader with about a 12-second lead over the rest of the pack. He took off the dock, had a little bit of a bump, and then said, see you later, boys and girls.
Yeah, you know, and he was, I don't know if he was just trying to stay right, tight line around the course, trying to stay on the inside, because that's the best way around the course. But I can tell you right now, the 42 of Hans Macaulay probably not too happy with the 12 of Trident Schleicher. As he's just hoping he doesn't sustain too much damage on that right sponsor, but commend him. He's keeping it going. But at the end of the day, we know as boat racers, right, sometimes the best thing to do to keep your boat dry is keep the foot in the gas.
Yeah, exactly. I've been there a few times. I'm like, I think I have a little bit more water coming into the back, and then I get in. I'm like, yeah, that would be a little bit of a hole.
Well, it looks like great job by the 42 of Hans Macaulay. You know, a lot of people after that bump there would kind of back off a little bit. And, you know, I thought the 2 of Travis Thompson was going to jump all over him, but he's really extended that lead back out and comfortably finds himself in a second position as he goes down through turns 1 and 2 on the south end of the course. The 24 of Love, though, clearly something happened in there. They got it figured out, but she's just not able to catch up to the drivers and pass them like she did in qualifying heat number 1.
May have had to make a little bit of a choice decision on making an adjustment from whatever happened. She might be running on, maybe she's running on a little bit less of her power, but she's still making her way through that. She's jumping in on the inside. Watch as she moves from the inside back to the outside, still trying to find some sort of clean water.
Yeah, and that's the big thing in powerboat racing, right? It's all about the clean water. When you infuse that much air into the water, all the torque that you're looking to get out of that propeller really diminishes from that air that gets churned in by the propeller. And we see the white flag go out. Go fast, turn left just 4 more times. So the young driver out of Santa Rosa Valley, California, one half of that Clover Construction team. He's looking to go back to back. And he got to be super happy for this young driver. Nobody really expected this out of the young driver for the Clover Construction team, but he's putting everybody else on notice in Formula Lights. I'm here, and I didn't come here just to have some fun. I came here to bring some hardware back to California.
Well, and you know, if you watch him, he's still driving hard, and it looks like he's like, you know what? Give me one more lap. I just want to be able to get right up to that pack.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps it up here for qualifying heat number 2. Taking the checkered flag and going back to back in qualifying heats number 1 and 2 with number 12, a Trident Schleicher. In second here in qualifying heat number 2, the young driver out of Vienna, Austria, the 42 of Hans Macaulay, and then the 2 of Travis Thompson, followed by the 66 of Randy Parch, and the 67 of Ricky Sober was able to hold off the 24 of Shelby Love, and something I have not said in a very long time, the 35 of Mark Schmierbach, DNF here in qualifying heat number 2, off the podium in heat number 1. He is going to have a hard afternoon to try to bring some hardware in for the Pizza Inn team here in 2024.
Look at that. He is so excited. Hans just lifted up that lid and just started hooting and hollering from all the way out here.
He's very excited. You know, it's been a lot of trials and tribulations for the Macaulay racing team over the last handful of years. That's one of the older Formula Lights boats. You know, they don't typically run a full schedule due to Hans living in Austria full time. And so they get excited because a lot of times they get out of the water and then they got to fix a trim issue and a motor issue and a this issue and a that issue. So I think he's just really happy to be able to get that Formula Light across the finish line with some with a podium finish here in qualifying heat number 2. But the young driver that hopefully you get a chance to talk to here in a little bit is the 12 of Trident Schleicher. That young driver is going to be probably ear to ear with the grin on his face as he gets outside of that number 12 Clover Construction team and doing a little donut action. He's real excited. His best impersonation of a Chris Fairchild.
I was going
right?
to say, yeah. he's got some work to do, but we all got to start somewhere. Chris is probably sitting over here. I see him over here, he's laughing. He's like, oh, I got me a young one. I got to teach him how to do the real. He's got me at least 3 times. How many times is Chris Fairchild? 0? How do you get away with that?
I just see it coming. Like, get away.
I
got electronics, man. I don't need to be getting
that
wet.
didn't stop him in Detroit when he hosed me down in the middle of an interview.
All right, we see overhead there. We've got the drone getting all the Formula Lights off the water. My colleague Kay going to make her way down to the pit area and in the pit lane and have an opportunity to chat with the 12 of Trident Schleicher. And coming up next here, we're going to load the tri-hulls back in the water for their 3rd of 4 qualifying heats. One change in the Texas tri-hull. Lieutenant Jerry Rinker, being the consummate grandfather that he is, said, hey, grandson, step into my boat. The 52 of Tanner Rinker blew the bottom out of his tri-hull yesterday. If you remember in qualifying heat number 2, that boat almost sank to the bottom of the river if it wouldn't have been for the great folks at Sport Rescue. And so the 10 of Jerry Rinker coming, 8 weeks off of a double knee surgery, said, you know what, grandson, hop into the number 10 machine. She's been good to me. She'll be good to you. And so we got a little bit of a driver lineup here in the Texas Tri-Hull class as the 52 of Tanner Rinker's boat has been put on the beach, and he's hopping into the number 10 machine, formerly driven by his grandfather, Jerry Rinker. But we've got the Formula Lights off the water. The Tri-Hulls are coming in. We've got a jam-packed day of racing here to wrap up the opening round of the 2024 Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. All right, well, while we get the Texas Tri-Hulls on the water, get the Formula Lights out, we're going to take a quick break. Thanks to our sponsors here at the 2024 Port Neches Riverfest, the opening round of the 2024 Formula One Powerboat Championship Series.
Mercury Racing was forged in the heat of competition. The will to win is in our DNA. Competition isn't just what we do, it's our proving ground. It's about the pursuit of power, performance, and endurance that pushes our limits and yours. We create premium marine power to take you faster and farther. The world offers limits. Mercury Racing offers freedom. Live wide open.
VP offers a wide range of oils, additives, and our new Stay Frosty coolants to help keep your streetcar, tow vehicle, or weekend warrior running at its best. VP products are engineered to keep your vehicle running smooth and looking great for your daily commute with our octane boosters, fuel treatments, and quick detailing products. Explore VP's full product line at vpracingfuels.com.
All right, we're going to kick things down to Kay and Trident down there after a back-to-back 2-heat victory for the young driver from Clover Construction.
We're here live with driver Trent. Congratulations on a great win. On that second heat, you and Hans got awfully close. Give us a driver's perspective.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's cockpit to cockpit, and we got to that buoy, and I knew I had room. So I had to close the door, keep him away, and it was over after that.
It was. You were a half a lap ahead of the rest of the pack. Congratulations. That was one heck of a heat.
Yeah, it was a lot of just mainly throttle control, not very much trim, keep it at parallel, and drive with the throttle. I've been having problems with the trim sticking, so I just kept it at parallel and drove with my foot.
Well, your co-racer, Shelby, unfortunately, was unable to get out there on time, but she did make it out. She had some throttle problems, but she's got it figured out. So we're going to be seeing you two duke it out. It's going to be Clover versus Clover on the next heat.
Yeah, she's got that new boat. It's bigger. It should handle the rough water pretty good. I'm sure she's got a good ride out there. So if we can get it to run, it'll go good.
Well, until then, the checkered flag belongs to you. Congratulations of the number 12 Clover Construction, Traden Schleicher.
All right, thanks, Kay. Down there with our back-to-back 1 and 2 qualifying heat winner, the number 12, Trident Schleicher, the young driver out of Santa Rosa Valley, California. But we've got bumper boats at 65 miles an hour coming up. These knuckleheads are going to be bouncing into each other and churning up the water here on the shores of the Neches River here in just a moment. But we couldn't be here without the rest of our great sponsors on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. You know, we mentioned Mercury Racing and VP Racing Fuels, but don't forget JH Performance Boats. JH Performance Boats, custom, handcrafted, shallow water bay boats built with the highest quality materials. Seaway Marine, sponsoring our Formula Lights class, specializing in Johnson, Evinrude, Gale, Chrysler, Force, and Mercury outboard motors, as well as OMC and Merc Cruiser stern drives. Chris Craft inboard V8 engines. They're your one-stop boat motor shop. Seaway Marine, your Johnson and Evinrude parts distributor. Racing Communications, their radios for racing. Seabolt Sports, world champion powerboat racing since 1939, and the only choice in marine audio, Kicker Marine Audio, living life and living it loud. Our great sponsors here at the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series in 2024 are a big reason why we're able to make it here. And let's take a look at the rest of our calendar for 2024 as we get ready with the rest of the Formula Lights. From here, we're going to make our way about 4 hours northeast of Port Neches, Texas, to Shreveport, Bossier, Louisiana, and the Red River Rumble right downtown Shreveport. So if you're here in Port Neches, make your way just a few hours northeast to here and hang out with us Memorial Day weekend, the final weekend in May for our second round of 2024. After that, we come back to the greater St. Louis area for the Alton, Illinois Midwest Nationals, a brand new event here in 2024 right in the backyard of the famous Seabold family in the greater St. Louis area at the Midwest Nationals in June in 2024. Then from there, we jump to the Mercury Racing Midwest Challenge in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, where our Formula Ones are going to be paired up with the offshore classes here in the American Powerboat Association. And we're going to run on big old Lake Michigan in late August, and then we wrap up the series at the Roar of the Rockies in Windsor, Colorado, to wrap up our 2024 season. And that's what our schedule looks like here in 24. So make sure you check it out at F1PowerboatChampionship.com. You can find live video, live stats, live lap timing on our website at F1PowerboatChampionship.com. And you can stay up to date with all of our social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and our live streams of all the racing here weekend of on YouTube. And also, new addition to 2024, we're going to be on Speed Sport 1 with a fully hour-long produced television program of all of our races. So in about 2 to 4 weeks from now, probably about a month from now, we're going to see the Port Neches Riverfest show come on to Speed Sport 1. So make sure you check out Speed Sport 1 as well, and make sure you subscribe to them so you can get the notification once the first round of the 2024 series gets posted up there on Speed Sport 1. All right, Kay. Well, you know, we get a little worried when the wind kicks up and the wind kicks up and the weather turns a little nasty, but these guys don't seem to care whatsoever.
They make this water this way. I'm sorry, Thomas, but they make it this way.
Yeah, you know, the rougher the better for the Texas Tri-Hull. It's quite an interesting class. The old 70s Glastron Tri-Hull boats, put a deck on them, put a roll cage in them, 100 cubic inch OMC outboard on the back. And these things are running at 60-plus miles an hour here on this two-pin course. And right now, Josh Wells is your man out in front by just 2 points.
Yeah, he had a great day yesterday. It was fun to watch him. But, you know, that Rinker clan, they had some issues. You went up there into the pits yesterday.
Yes, we did. Yes, I
did.
did.
When you see parts of the boat on top of the boat,
not a good day.
That's usually not very good.
First time I've ever seen that in a tri-hull. First time I've ever seen the bottom blow out of a tri-hull.
Yeah,
only
in the Rinkers.
They're built extremely well. They're built by Mike Schubert at Sport Marine, the same folks that build the JH Performance boats. So these guys know what they're doing. Now, that boat's not brand new. It's been around the block a few times, which means it's probably been ran into about 127 times in its life. And, stuff rattles loose over time. He probably hit a big hole in the water, or with all the rain and debris, very real possibility he punctured a big hole in there from a log or something else that's been floating downriver.
Well, when I went over there, asked him, I said, what is your plan? You've got a hole in your boat. What is the plan in the rinkers? Because you never know what the rinkers are going to bring out. Well, as you can see, this is what we found out the plan was.
Yeah, the 52 of Tanner Rinker's boat is been scrapped. Of course, the consummate grandfather that he is, he wants nothing more than to see his boys out there running, coming off of back-to-back double knee surgery 8 weeks ago.
I talked to him a few times while he was in the hospital.
Guys.
I think that maybe the second one he might have asked for. He was having a little bit of fun in that hospital. But
you know what? I mean, this is what you do. This is what family does, right? Tanner obviously was running really well. He didn't expect that to happen. So they turn the 10 into the 52. And now for the first time in probably about 20 years, 15, 20 years, the 10 of Jerry Rinker is going to be watching a race from the shore.
And you can see over here, look at the sea of yellow from the whole Rinker clan. That is the support that they have, that support not only in their family but in their friends. The team has been working together so well. You go out to their, what I call the compound, the Rinker compound.
Right.
And everybody was laughing and having a good time, and it's fun to hang out with that group. They're one of a kind out there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they had the burgers, the brats. They had all the food flowing. Anybody wanted to come over and hang out and tell stories. I saw our folks from Speed Sport 1 were getting some great content, some great stories from Jerry Rinker.
Yeah,
I don't know how many of those stories are going to be airable, right, on TV. Thankfully, we're going to be on Amazon Prime, so not your traditional platform, so maybe we can get away with a little bit more. But I know Jerry had some doozies for them out there, but we got them ready to go side by side here in qualifying heat number 2. Let's take a look at how our starting order is. On the inside of row 1 is the 52 of Tanner Rinker. On the outside, it's the 54 of Darren Ware. On the inside of row 2, the 63 of Aaron Green. And then on the outside, that's the DD1 of Andy Miller. On the inside of row number 3, that's the 56 of Clint Dillard. On the outside, the 26 of Briston Sherman. On the inside of row 4, the 69 of Cole Mullet Waring. On the outside, let's see here, that's the 37 of Mason Rinker. And then on the inside of row 5, the 13 of Grant Schubert. On the outside, the number 5 of Ruben Stafford. On the inside of row 6, the 88 of Josh Wells. Then it's the 17 of Neil Marsh, followed by our rookie here in 2024 in that number 6 boat. That's Gerald Shelton running for Captain Mark Seafood, his first race in Tri-Hole last weekend at the Test and Tune in Freeport. Who's going to win qualifying heat number 3?
I don't know. Grant Schubert's got his work cut out from him, sitting way back here in about the 6th place, 6th line. But we're going to keep an eye on that Rinker. That's going to be Mason Rinker, the bright yellow. We're going to see if he's going to be able to come right through the middle of this pack, because here comes some fun, boys and girls. The Tri-Halls have been let loose.
And they drop the green flag, and we're under racing way. Here comes the 52 of Mason Rinker, the 54 of Darren Ware. They go side by side down the front straightaway. Then the DD1 of Andy Miller and the 63 of Aaron Green. The 2 Oklahoma boys duking it out for 3rd and 4th as they go down the front. Oh, look out there, the 69 of Cole Waring and the 26 of Briston Sherman. Teammates collide coming down the front straightaway as they go wadding up down into turn number 1. There's the 17 of Neil Marsh. Watch out, he gets on top of the 56 of Clint Dillard. But we've got 5 boats cruising out the front stretch. Look at the 13 of Schubert.
I called that one. I said he's got his work to do.
And it looks like that's the DD1 of Andy Miller, our deck to deck. As now look, they go 4 wide down in the corner. But right now that 52 of Mason Rinker out in front, finding the clear water. Whoa, look out there. The 26 of Sherman goes way wide to the outside. Oh, no, what happened down there? It looks like, we got a boat over down at the far end of the course.
Oh, that
looks like
Mullet.
the 69 of Cole Waring. It looks like we've got a helmet out. And it looks like the young driver from Richmond, Texas is going to be okay. He's out of the water there. I don't even know what happened down there at the far end of the course.
I wonder if it had something to do with that collision at the beginning of that heat when he was colliding, because he looked like he went way wide trying to get out of the way.
Yeah, and unfortunately it was so far off the screen, and we had 5 boats right there fighting for 1st to 5th, all on top of one another. We were following that down the back straightaway. We didn't even see what happened to the 69 of Cole Waring, as he was unable to right that boat, but hopefully the driver looks like he might be okay. Looks like they got him up onto the There we go. Looks like Mullet's okay as he's made his way onto the rescue boat. Boy, and that's going to make it a long day for the 69.
He's not happy.
Mullet wearing.
He is not happy at all out there. I wonder if there might have been, I mean, you and I both heard the impact from when those two collided.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if there's going to be some severe boat damage on the other side. We'll have to see if they
It's very
turn around.
possible. You know, you get a lot of water that goes into one side and to make that boat real easy to flip because it just doesn't have the balance that it's used to. And that's a brand new boat as of last year. So if that thing's taking some severe damage, that means that he got hit real hard in that number 69 machine. But they got the strap on it. Jet Ski Jared going to get that thing flipped back over and drag him back off the course. And we're going to have to do a restart here in qualifying heat number 3 in the Texas Tri-Hall, third of 4 qualifying heats. And, man, that's got to be frustrating for Cole, who was really hoping to have a solid 2024.
Oh, it looks like they're able to bring that back up and over.
There we go. Yeah. I mean, hey, with Jared on the jet ski,
yeah,
no boat is unflippable for
true.
Jet Ski Jared. That's really what he does well. I mean, he's got so many years of practice. He's flipped so many boats. You know, and maybe we can have an opportunity to chat with the 69 of Cole Waring once he gets checked out here, find out what happened down there, because we just weren't able to see what happened to the driver down there in turn number 1 at the far south end of the course. But you can hear the crowd clapping for Mullet. He's okay. Obviously frustrated because qualifying heat number 3 is over for the young driver out of Richmond, Texas. But now he's got some work cut out for him. He's got to get back into the pits. They got to dry that motor out. They got to dry that boat out. His saving grace here is this is not a 2-stroke, so it's a fully sealed 4-stroke motor, which I think might make it a little bit easier for him to get that boat dried out. He's really basically just going to have to drain it, make sure he, maybe pop some new plugs in, fire that thing up, and because it's an enclosed system like our 4-strokes are, you don't typically have to worry about the water wreaking nearly as much havoc on the motor.
Well, I'm hoping it's just that boat damage is another factor we're going to have to check out when that boat comes in. It looks like they're really struggling to bring it in just because of all the water that's inside of that, but I can't see any damage. But that paint job, it kind of hides some of the damage.
Yeah,
I think
it does.
he did it on purpose so that when he does a little bit of bumping, that it doesn't look like it's that big of a damage.
Well, the problem is, though, is that's a wrap, right? As we can see here on the 13 of Grant Schubert off the screen for
He's
those
so
not
fast,
here.
it whips off.
in Port Neches, that the wrap can tend to peel off the boat real easy when you're rubbing, and rubbing is racing, especially in Tri-Hall. That's for darn sure. So
yeah, they have their own set of rules.
Absolutely. Normal rules do not apply in the Texas Tri-Hall division of the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series.
As you can see, the drivers are going to come by one. That is when our officials are telling them where they are to line up. It's just like in NASCAR when they have to do a rolling start. That's the same thing that our tri-halls do. They are assigned a position and a lane. So each one of these drivers will make their way into that lane. At that point, Jet Ski Jared will make his way out in front of them, give them like a pace car, bring them around the course. And at that point, official Doug Ray will bring up the green flag, and that will start our second round of fun. This is the restart. They're bumping boats before they even start. Look at this, Tom.
Okay.
These guys can't
So
they're working on trying to see the sign instead of paying attention to each other. Ruben in the number 5. All right, it's going to take us just a few minutes just to bring in Cole's boat, and it looks like the trailer is ready to go. Cole is down here. I might go grab him real quick and see what happens.
Yeah, while we do that, we're going to, big thanks to a couple of the major sponsors here at the Port Neches Riverfest here in 2024. We'll hopefully be right back with a word from the driver, Cole Waring, who went over, and the restart here of qualifying heat number 3 in Texas Tri-Hall at the opening round of the 2024 Formula One Powerboat Championships.
Choose Classic because we're a local family-owned dealership selling American brands at the best prices in town.
Hi, I'm Ben Case, General Manager at Classic, where our goal is to treat you like family.
Classic, Southeast Texas.
We know how important it is, being neighbors. When we go to work every day, we're working for our families, for our schools, our kids, and local businesses and neighborhoods. For Southeast Texas, our roots are strong. And we're moving forward, innovating world-class financial tools for the folks here at home. We live local. We give local. And we're not going anywhere. Neches Federal Credit Union. Family, friends, community.
All right, and we're back here. They're trying to get the mullet machine clipped onto the trailer, get that thing back up on there and dried out so he can hopefully be back for qualifying heat number 4. Qualifying heat number 3 is done for the 69, Cole Waring, but he's hoping to be able to get back out on the water, trying to see what happened to that 69 machine out there. Haven't been able to see any damage on the boat yet, Kay, but that doesn't mean anything because about half of the boat or more is still underwater.
It was a steering problem. The steering broke on him, so basically he lost all control and it just decided to drive itself. Plus, he might have gotten a little bit of water in there from the damage from the impact. So the combination of all of those, unfortunately, brings him in here under tow. So we're going to have to wait and see. But look at all these people out here all wanting to see what they can do to help out.
Yeah, I mean, we've got multiple teams, drivers, crews from other teams helping get that boat on the trailer. Looks like they've got it up, and now they get the lovely, long, arduous task of draining all the water out. That thing will probably be draining for the next 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah, hey, they've got time. Maybe we can see him come back out.
Well, again, with him having that 4-stroke, that's definitely could be helpful for him. But I do want to say, while we've got a few moments here, the great folks at the concession area here, I mean, I had a turkey leg yesterday that was the size of my forearm.
I still have not got my gator.
What are you doing? You got to get in there. You got to get the gator. But, check out the folks at Concessions Plus. They've got Cajun pistolets, boudin balls, crawfish nachos, pork chop, shrimp, and gator on a stick. Now,
there it is. I want my
pork
gator.
chop on a stick is like an old school favorite of mine, right? That's something they got everywhere. Now, I tell you, Minnesota, we don't necessarily have shrimp or gator on a stick, but that food is great. Everything across the Midway. I mean, they've got lemonades, limeades. You got your shave ice, all the cool treats, all the hot treats, literally anything you can want. Right, the Amish donuts. Like, I don't need to go obsessive like I did last year. Right, I think I've caught more flack for that than anything else from 2023. But you know what? That's okay. They are that good.
They were. I had one. It was yum.
They were fantastic. But the great folks over at Concessions Plus, Randy and Melanie, thanks for coming down here, letting us know all the things you've got going on, so we can make sure the crowd swings by and gets your fantastic concessions food. But we got all sorts of great stuff going on. Things are starting to dry out. We got a break in the weather. The crowds are starting to come down, and we've got more tri-hall racing action along with the rest of the program here at the opening round of the 2024 Formula One Powerboat Championship Series here at the 23rd annual Port Neches Riverfest. All right, Kay, we've got them lined up 2 by 2 minus the 69 of Cole Mullet Waring. But let's take a look at our starting lineup here on this restart. The man who stayed out in front, the 52 of Tanner Rinker, still on the inside of row 1 on the outside, who stayed in second, the 54 of Darren Ware. But we got a shake up behind them as we got the 63 of Aaron Green on the inside of row 2. On the outside of row 2, the DD1 of Andy Miller. Then it's the 56 of Clint Dillard, the 26 of Briston Sherman, the 37 of Mason Rinker, the 5 of Ruben Stafford, the 13 of Grant Schubert, the 17 of Neil Marsh, who still sits back on that second to last row, along with the 88 of Josh Wells, and then our rookie, the 6 of Gerald Shelton, and that Captain Mark Seafood Market sponsored entry.
The one that's going to be interesting to watch is kind of in the middle of that pack. We got two young kids back there. We got Mason Rinker in the 37, Grant Schubert in the 13. Those kids have been racing this class for a few years together, and to watch these two go side by side into turn 1 is going to be interesting. But our leader has got probably the fastest setup out there because Grandpa Jerry gave the 52 over to Tanner.
Yeah, they swap the 10 for the number 52 on there, and we're just about ready to get underway here. Green flag up and waiting to be dropped by our chief referee, Doug Ray, as jet ski Jared pulls off the course. Our pace jet ski peels off to the side. We're just waiting for that green flag to be dropped. And here we go. We're underway on the restart here in qualifying heat number 3 in Texas Tri-Hall.
4 wide as they come down the front stretch, and it looks like the
DD1 Andy Miller, the driver out of Disney, Oklahoma, is pushing hard. Only his second race ever in Tri-Hall, coming over from the dirt bike world. Also an offshore racer back in the 1980s.
Wow, he's got a lot of skills on and off of the shores. But our leader is going to fly out of there in the 52. That is going to be Rinker. But look at the race going for 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and 6th.
Here comes the 37 of Mason Rinkers. We're looking to have 1, 2. Rinker's out in front, but there's the 13 of Grant Schubert. Just like you said, keep an eye on him. This young driver's already moved himself 3 wide up into second position. Can he come out of turn number 1 all the way up in that number 2 spot?
Getting our crowds excited as they start to fly these trials through turn number 2. Starting to get a little rough and nasty, but threading the needle, coming right through out of nowhere is the 17 of Neil Marsh.
Would you expect anything else from your two-time defending champion, the dude out of Hemlock, Michigan, or as they say, coming straight out of Hemlock, pushing hard up the middle of the pack, trying to find his way on the podium. He's 2 points clear of Josh Wells, and oh no, the DD1 of Andy Miller goes down into turn number 1, and he almost loses it and goes over as well.
Neil Marsh just about jumped on the back cowling of Mason Rinker in the 37, trying to get around him. He's going a long way around the course as they fight 3 wide. Once again, Neil Marsh jumps on the inside of Mason. He's going to fly around Mason. Now he's going to try and go after Grant Schubert in the 13.
Yeah, and we see the rest of the field moving their way down to the north end of the course through turn number 2 in this 2-pin half-mile race course here for Texas Tri-Hall. There's an overhead view of the 37 of Mason Rinker, pushing hard, trying to catch up. Now the 17 of Neil Marsh has already gotten by the 37 of Mason Rinker. Neil Marsh up into third, ladies and gentlemen. He is driving it like he stole it, trying to hang on to that points lead here in qualifying heat number 3.
I really don't know how these guys don't blow these over. It is all in the hallmark of making these guys go through. And look at Mason just tries to shove his way on the inside of Neil Marsh.
What a great turn there by the 13 of Grant Schubert. He just slid that thing through turn, the flattest Tri-Hall turn I think I've ever seen. Now the 37 of Minker, though, he is not going to go away. The 17 of Neil Marsh expects typically to kind of blow the doors off guys when he drives around the outside. But the 37 of Mason Rinker's like, hey, man, I'm not going anywhere, bro. I won last weekend. Where were you?
It looks like Grant Schubert's going to give him a big wash of water as they come through turn 1. But it looks like they start to hop out of turn 1 and make their way down the backstretch. And it's a rough ride down that backstretch.
Schubert completely out of the water down the back straightaway, sitting in third. But here comes Marsh on his outside hip. He bangs into the 37 of Mason Rinker as they are duking it out down the north end of the course. But right now it is all Tanner Rinker who's driving away from the field. But the real question is can the 17 of Marsh get by the 37 of Mason Rinker as he's able to get back around him? They are just swapping paint and positions here, Kay, in the late stages of qualifying heat number 3.
And it looks like there was another great move. Marsh got dropped way back to third. Mason Rinker just snuck on the inside. Grant Schubert took advantage of it and starts to walk away. The race now starts for third and fourth. On the inside in the 37, Mason Rinker. On the outside, Neil Marsh in the 17 as they start to fly down that backstretch.
Oh, no, it looks like is that the 88 of Josh Wells, or is that the 63 of Aaron Green?
63. Our leader comes across the start-finish line. Tanner Rinker in the 52, followed by Grant Schubert in the 13, Mason Rinker in the 37, and Neil Marsh drops back to fourth in the 17.
Wow, that's, again, he's probably as astounded as anybody else, but as we watch these drivers come around, there's the 13 of Schubert sitting in second, the 37 of making third. Now, if we watch out their right side hip there, you're going to see the 63 of Aaron Green. There's something missing on the back of that boat. Where'd his motor go?
Whoa.
He's got no motor.
That sounds like a Rinker move because they've done that twice in 2023.
And that's frustrating for the young driver out of Oklahoma as he just continues to have problems there. You see the motor gone on the back of that Texas Tri-Hall. Hopefully it's hanging on by the cables. We get the white flag out. Go fast. Turn left just 2 more times. What happened to 37 of Mason Rinker?
Mason risked the buoy. Had to go back and pick it back up.
1 lap to go, and the young driver for the Rinker Racing team misses a buoy, and now the 17 of Neil Marsh, thankfully, he got a little good luck there and moves his way back onto the podium here in qualifying heat number 3.
13 of Grant Schubert starting to walk away from Neil Marsh, but our leader has got one more left-hand turn. Can he make it through? That'd be Tanner Rinker driving Jerry's boat in the 52.
He didn't miss the buoy, which was the first person. He goes wide on a turn number 3. Ladies and gentlemen, taking the checkered flag in qualifying heat number 3 out of Spring, Texas, number 52, Mason Rinker. Tanner Rinker. In second, the 13 of Grant Schubert, followed by the 17, the dude, Neil Marsh. And then the other half of the Rinker Racing team here in fourth position, the 37 of Mason Rinker. After he struggled a little bit, missing a buoy down there, might have been in fifth place with Josh Wells coming in just 1 spot ahead of him. Then the 56 of Clint Dillard, followed by the 5 of Ruben Stafford, the DD1 of Andy Miller, and then the 6 of Gerald Shelton. Had a couple of boats that didn't make it there, and most notably the 63 of Aaron Green. That's got to be so frustrating. He had a motor catch on fire at Lake of the Ozarks last year. Wasn't able to get the motor back together. It totally scrapped the rest of his season. Comes to the first race of the season this year, and the motor doesn't make it through qualifying heat number 3. Not that it went away. It literally just disappeared. I just hope that thing's hanging on by cables, because if it's at the bottom of the Neches River, you ain't getting it back.
And we've seen it with the rinkers a couple times, and I actually messaged with Jerry. I said, Jerry, before the race last year, I said, did you put the extra bungee cords and duct tape on that motor to make sure it was on? And he goes, yeah. You know what happens? Tanner loses his the next weekend.
I remember that, yes. It's weird when you look at the back of a boat and there's no motor on it. You're like, wait a minute.
Something's not right.
Something's missing here.
Grab your paddle, I guess?
Yeah, what a great run, though. What a great heat that was in Tri-Hall. The 52. They did. This is exactly what Jerry wanted to happen. This is exactly why Jerry got out of the boat and said, hey, Tanner, hop in, man.
Yeah.
This is your race. This is your ride. Like, he probably should I probably shouldn't be out here anyway, but, Jerry, he just can't help himself,
he can't
right?
help it.
And at 80 years old, Jerry, you do you, my friend. You do whatever you want to do.
And he picks the hardest class to race, like the hardest on your body to race is the Tri-Halls.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to hopefully have a chance to go down there and chat with the 52 at Tanner Rinker. I have a feeling you're going to talk to a very appreciative young man as he was able to ride that borrowed boat all the way all the way to the checkered from the pole, went wire to wire here in qualifying heat number 3 of 4 in the Texas Tri-Hall. So we've got 2 Formula Lights heats in. We've got 3 Tri-Halls in. Coming up next, the Formula Lights are going to be back out for their final heat here at the Port Neches Riverfest before we bring the big Formula Ones out a little bit later on today as we wrap them through their final 2 qualifying heats and their main event here as we run through our Sunday racing program here at the opening round of the 2024 Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. And we wouldn't be here in Port Neches for the 23rd year in a row and we got a couple of great companies here. First and foremost, the Christus Southeast Texas St. Elizabeth. Christus Health is a Catholic health ministry and leader partner and advocate in the creation and innovation of health and wellness solutions that improve the lives of individuals in the communities that they all may experience God's healing presence and love. Del Papa Distributing, your number 1 Anheuser-Busch distributor in Southeast Texas. Giglio Distributing, your number 1 Miller Coors distributor in Southeast Texas. I've got Groves Equipment Rental. Groves Equipment Rental for over 65 years. Groves Equipment Rental has served the construction industry, oil refineries, and chemical plants along the Gulf Coast. They have a wide selection of top-of-the-line machinery and all the top-of-the-line manufacturers in the field. We've also got KLB 88.1, a great radio station here in Southeast Texas, completely funded by the listeners. What a great nonprofit radio station, KLB 88.1. Port Neches Riverfest, again, has a ton of great sponsors, and we have a ton of great sponsors as well. Well, first and foremost, Mercury Racing, VP Racing Fuels, Racing Communications, Seabold Sports, my fearless leader, Tim Seabold, CEO of the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series, hanging out with me right next door, just hanging out here. We've got Seaway Marine sponsoring the Formula Light Series here again in 2024. Seaway Marine, your one-stop boat motor shop, your Evan Rooted Johnson parts distributor. Check them out at seawaymarine.com, and all the great sponsors that make the Formula One Powerboat Championship run here in 2024. We'll be right back with more Formula Lights racing action here as we wrap it up on Sunday here at the 23rd Annual Port Neches Riverfest.
This spring at Classic Kia and pay nothing till summer. Save thousands on the new Forte for only $19,596, or the award-winning Sportage for only $26,875. Save today, pay nothing till summer, only at Classic Kia.
Formula One powerboats are sleek, glamorous, lightweight, and extremely maneuverable, with a power-to-weight ratio among the highest in all of motorsports. Their performance speaks for itself. Acceleration from 0 to 100 miles an hour in under 5 seconds. Top speeds in excess of 120. Cornering at 100 miles an hour, all while pulling 7 Gs in the process. The competition begins with a field of 20 boats lined up in the start pontoon. Engines silent, awaiting the modified Le Mans start. When the green flag drops, these world-class drivers ignite their rockets to life. Engines roaring and rooster tails flying, they simultaneously accelerate towards the first turn. With tight courses close to the shoreline, made up of right and left-hand turns that offer deck-to-deck, heart-pounding action and guarantee fans up close and front and center views, no two laps are the same due to the ever-changing wind and water conditions, making the F1 boat one of the most challenging racing machines to conquer on the planet. Founded in 2017, the Formula One Powerboat Championship is an 8-race series contested across North America, featuring weekend-long community events highlighted by the Formula One boats and supporting classes. U.S. Powerboat Racing's 120-year heritage began with the formation of its governing body, the American Powerboat Association. For the last 6 decades, Formula One powerboats have been the pinnacle classification in powerboat racing. Recognized as one of the world's most spectacular racing vehicles, these events have evolved into more than a series of one-day races, developing into marquee, multi-interest, weekend-long community festivals, producing some of the largest entertainment events in major markets, attracting tourism dollars, benefiting the local economies, while delighting the global audience. Large on-site event attendance is coupled with mass media exposure through various channels, regionally, nationally, and globally. Our live streaming programs give each event international reach on various social and traditional channels, reaching millions of fans. Our marketing partners enjoy outstanding return on investment with our unique sport and custom flexible approach of the Formula One Powerboat Championship.
All right, and we're back here, and I'm going to immediately turn it over to my colleague, Kay Myers, and our winner in qualifying heat number 3 in the Texas Tri-Hall, the 52, Tanner Rinker. Take it away, Kay.
Tanner Rinker, not exactly the best start to your weekend. Yesterday, you brought your boat in. Part of it was sitting on top. A piece fell off, broke. What happened to the first boat?
From all the flooding, I guess logs and stuff were in the water and just ended up hitting one, put a big old hole in the bottom.
It was a large hole. It was a pretty big hole. Unfixable for the weekend, but you had your saving grace. Grandpa Jerry handed over the wheel to his fast boat and brought it to you, and that was your reward, was giving him a checkered flag.
Absolutely. I just want to thank him for being so kind to lend me his boat. I know it's not the easiest thing for him because racing's in his blood, and just want to thank him again.
Jerry has been a big icon in the Rinker racing world. He is the team leader, the ringleader. He is your grandpa, and he has done so much. You've got to thank him one more time.
Grandpa, I know you're going to be watching this about 1,000 times, so thank you for letting me use your boat.
All right, congratulations to Rinker Boat World. The 52, a checkered flag belongs to you. Back to this.
All right, Kay, great interview there by the 52 of Tanner Rinker, and that's what boat racing is all about. That is exactly what it is all about. Jerry recognized that Tanner had an opportunity with his boat, was pretty fast. Jerry's in a little bit of beat up from some surgery he had to have on his knees just about 2 months ago, so 8 weeks off of knee surgery is pretty tough. He said, you know what, let me give you the opportunity to run in this machine. That boat has won multiple national titles and Texas Tri-Hall F1 Formula One Powerboat Championship Series racing titles. And Tanner jumped in and did exactly what Jerry expected him to do. He goes wire to wire from the inside of lane 1, collecting some very valuable points and starting to shake up the standings here as we saw the 13 of Grant Schubert stay ahead of the 17 of Neil Marsh. But the 88 of Josh Wells was mired way back in about 7th, 8th position. So that's going to shake up the point standings. We're going to have to see after 3 how that's going to shake out for our 4th and final qualifying heat Texas Tri-Hall a little bit later on this afternoon. But right now we're going to be bringing out our Formula Lights. They ran their 2 qualifying heats earlier today, and we've got the main event here in Formula Lights. And Kay, right now it looks like it is all Triton Schleicher. Will he be able to do here in the final what he did in the 2 qualifying heats, which is just walk away from the field?
I know he's going to have his hands full because if you look over here on the boat launch, we've got the 35 making his way back out onto the water, and we also have Miss Shelby Love. Had some throttle issues on that last heat. They got that figured out. Mark Schmierbach's going to bring the pizza in, all colorful pizza in, number 35 out onto the water. One of our faster competitors of the weekend. But, I mean, with a 15-second lead, Triton has really set the pace up there with our Formula Lights.
Yeah, absolutely. And, while we get these boats loaded over, we talk about how rough it was yesterday and the Formula Lights weren't able to run. And some of that rough water wreaked some pretty bad havoc on the Clover construction team. And we've got some great footage. Let's take a look what happened in that rough and tumble conditions here at the 23rd Annual Port Neches Riverfest on Saturday.
So this is a Formula One boat, and it's a brand new setup for us, new boat this season. So we've been working to get everything ready. Time trials, we started in 6th place going out there, and we knew it was going to be a little rough, but the boat got through everything pretty well. We started in 6th, we moved up to 4th, and we were getting ready to take over 3rd place right there. And we were right on his hip and just hit some crazy waves. You can't really see everything in front of you all the time because you got spray in front of you and other boats. So I didn't really see these big waves coming in, and it popped up the boat. And as the boat was coming down, it went down into another wave and just completely submerged under the water. It did a little damage to the front of the boat here, but got the motor a little wet. So we're working through it right now, getting everything cleaned out, getting the boat ready to go for the next race. So yeah, we should be back out there later today, and hopefully the weather cooperates. It gets a little crazy out here at this course, especially because you got waves bouncing off the sides of the area here where the docks are, and that it kind of forms a huge hole there. So like when you're driving a boat, you're going full speed, if you see a hole there, your boat's sometimes just going to sink into it, and there's not a whole lot you can do. But we got people on the radio, we do the best that we can, try and get a heads up on what's coming up ahead of us and what to look out for. But yeah, you can't watch for everything. And when you're on asphalt racing cars and stuff, you can kind of know what to expect a little more. But out there on the water, it's always up in the air.
That just shows you how the safety of these boats are a key factor. That is a Hoffman boat. It is a fast boat, but it is a safe boat. That could have been way worse. The way that the impact that he took from going up in the air and straight submarining. The other thing is the knowledge of all of our drivers that were out there on the course with him. And, of course, our safety rescue crew were so quick to get right over to Sean Love. And we were excited to see that we're going to be seeing Sean Love out here later on this afternoon. We did see the damage here a little bit. It was pretty minimal for the impact that he took. I was actually very surprised when I went over to go see the boat. I thought it would be way worse.
Yeah, I think that's a testament to Rick Hoffman and the boats that he builds, and as well as to the move that we're seeing from the traditional Okumi wood boat to the all carbon fiber Kevlar Formula Ones that are being built today. They're safer, they're stronger, they're lighter, right? So you can do a lot more with these boats. So we're seeing speeds increase, and the old saying "rubbing is racing" wasn't really ever true in tunnel boat racing.
No, it's not. We'll leave that to the trials.
Right. However, I think you're seeing a little bit more of that these days because that rubbing, right, when you kiss a carbon fiber boat, it has a lot more rigidity. It's a lot stronger, and it can handle that. As you see now here, pulling in the water is the unfortunate 63 of Aaron Green, the driver out of Oklahoma, is missing the motor on the back of the boat. I did find out that it didn't fall to the bottom of the river. It is still hung on to the back of that boat via all the cables, but it'll be curious to see what happened to the 63 of Aaron Green out there on the, as you can see, the motor completely ripped off of its mount and hanging down there, but at least he didn't lose the motor in 90 feet of water here in this dredged out channel of the Port Neches River, or the Neches River here, and but the frustrations continue for the 63 of Aaron Green in the Mean Machine, as he had caught on fire last year, like I had mentioned. Now the motor barely hanging on to the back of the boat.
But that driver is okay. That's the biggest factor. Is watching him come in, he's going to be able to repair that boat. Boats are repairable. People aren't.
Absolutely, and he'll get that thing on the trailer and kind of evaluate. I have a feeling the weekend is going to be over for the 63 of Aaron Green, as he's going to have to watch the rest of the Tri-Hull finals from the comfort of the shore. As they get that thing out of the water, now they're going to just make sure they pick up the motor. Boy, how frustrating that's got to be for the driver from Oklahoma. That motor laying sideways on the boat ramp. Not something
I've never seen that, actually. That's why I'm just intrigued watching this. I've never seen, even in all my outboard dates, I've never seen this where there's actually, I've seen it come in without a motor.
Right.
I've seen that. But, I mean, to be able to have it still sitting there, that's I mean, it's an unfortunate thing, but it's still lucky that he's still got that sitting right there. And he's going to be able to, put it back inside. And then we've got a few weeks till next race. So
yeah, and we'll see if he can get that thing back together. I mean, thankfully, the people who built the boat are only about an hour from here,
and
our next race is only about 4 from there. So hopefully Aaron's going to be able to have them help him out, get that thing back together. We'll have to see. It looks like there might still be electrical power there a little bit. Hopefully that had shut off. I saw the prop move there a little bit, but we're getting the rest of these Formula lights. You can see multiple team. We got let's see here. Series owner John Schubert partners with our other series owner Tim Siebold is there. We've got the Rinker Racing team, plus the driver Aaron, plus our winner from heat number 3, Tanner Rinker.
Here comes Chris.
Everybody looking to help the 63 of Aaron Green get that motor back inside the boat so we can at least get the boat back to the pits as they
teamwork makes the dream work.
Absolutely. As frustrated as he is, I know he greatly appreciates all the help from his competitors to get that thing back into the boat. And you know what? I'm glad he just saved the motor because, I mean, it's kind of hard to race without a motor. And if your motor's 90 feet deep of water, all that means is you're just going to have to go find another motor. And these 100 cubic inch Johnson and Evinrudes, while they're around, typically you got to find them and then rebuild them just to be able to get them to run because these motors have been around for quite a while. But the reason they chose this motor package is A, it's very durable, and B, even though they're old, there's a ton of them around. And so these guys will typically buy 3, 4, 5 motors that are junk, and then they'll piece them together and build themselves a race motor from multiple of these old Johnson 100 cubic inch outboards.
Saying that, it just reminds me of the days when I used to go over to my parents' house, and my dad would just wait for me to show up. I'd go over there a couple days a week, just to go hang out. And it was funny because what he would do is he's like, I need the carburetor off of that motor. And when I say that motor, I'm pointing like 6 motors deep because I was agile and I could just climb over all of these Mercury motors and Johnson motors. My dad, he probably had 100 motors downstairs. And I'm not kidding. My dad should never have found the word offer up. He would go to offer up, and luckily Marketplace wasn't around quite yet when he had passed, but he would go to offer up and he'd be like, oh, I could fix that motor. So he would take pieces from that motor, add it to pieces of that motor. I could have raced a tri-haul.
Yeah, you could have.
I could have had my own series.
All right, while we get our Formula Lights lined up for their main event here at the 2024 Port Neches Riverfest, let's chat with the newer driver, Unlimited hydroplane driver Andrew Tate, talking about some of the new motor packages he has in his new endeavor here in Formula One.
So we're running the 2.5 Carby motor, provided by Mercury, obviously. It's a little bit older technology, but it's tried and it's proven. A lot of the other guys are running the new V8s from Mercury, the 4-stroke motors. I think that's kind of the way the series is swaying, the wave of the future. We made a pretty big investment here with the 2.5 stuff, so we're going to see where we're at, where we stack up to these guys with the new motors, and hopefully we can stick with the new guys and their big power units. The V8s are going to be big, bigger boats, new design, so I think that they have some things to learn. We obviously have things to learn too, but as far as our power unit goes, it's tried and it's true. Our propeller program seems to be on point. So I think maybe at the beginning of the year, we're hoping to kind of be at the top half of the field here with what we have while these other guys figure out their new power plants.
And I think, Kay, that is going to be a big thing here in 2024. We've got almost half our field now is converted to the Apex family of motors with that APX 250 4.6 liter V8 4-stroke that has been introduced in 2024, replacing the 200 APX V6 that has now been, I guess, mothballed from a racing perspective after some huge input from drivers like Dustin Terry and especially RJ West and Chris Fairchild and some of the other drivers that have really been able to understand what that 200 was doing, and they recognize that it just didn't match up with what they were expecting as we look to transition away from the 2.5 liter V6. These are motors no longer commercially made by Mercury Marine or Mercury Racing, so the parts are hard to find, the blocks are hard to find, and so we're naturally going to see this transition over to the V8 here within a few years. I expect we're going to be a complete V8 series, which I never thought I would say. I thought the days of the V8 program were done once we hit like 1987, right? I mean, you remember Benny Robertson was a fantastic V8 driver in that IBM 57, number 57 machine, and those screaming 3-liter V8 or 3.3 liter V8 Johnson and Evinrudes were impressive. But then we went to the V6. They were lighter. I remember, I think it was maybe 82, 83, Bill Siebold shows up at the docks in Bristol with this brand new Mercury 2-stroke, and he went out there and absolutely walloped all these V8s because he could turn so quickly. They didn't have the time in the straightaways to catch back up to the punch that he got. Once they dialed in that program, they were creating almost the same top end, not quite, but almost the same, but so much quicker in and out of the corners. It quickly became the catalyst and the go-to, and has been for the last 35 years. And now we're finally seeing a transition away, just like they did in dirt bike racing maybe about 15 years ago, that transition from the 2-stroke to the more fuel efficient, the more eco-friendly, and the overall wallet-friendly from amount of repairs of that 4-stroke package that Mercury's rolling out with the Apex platform and that 250 4.6-liter V8 4-stroke for Mercury. It's going to be fun.
And they're here. They're actually here in our pits. Mercury is here working hand in hand with our drivers. I know that RJ West is constantly testing. Dylan Anderson is constantly on the phone with them as well. And Dustin Terry. All three of our main drivers are working side by side with Mercury to say, hey, their drivers are saying, hey, this feels weird. This sounds weird. This doesn't start right. I want more punch off of the dock. That's their biggest thing, is they're saying, I need the punch off the dock. And slowly but surely, they're getting it, and it's showing in the numbers, not only in the numbers that these drivers are getting with, podium finishes, but numbers in speeds. These drivers are getting faster and faster by the minute with these new Mercuries.
Absolutely. We got the Formula Lights almost lined up here. Don't forget, get all your Formula One merchandise from our tent just outside the concession area here at the Port Neches Riverfest. You can also get all of your 2024 Formula One Powerboat Championship apparel from our website at formula1powerboatchampionship.com. Shoot us an email. Let us know what you're looking for. We'll get you all the great apparel. We've got hats, koozies, sweatshirts. We've got muscle shirts, regular T-shirts. We've got men's sizes, women's sizes, kids' sizes. We've got a whole plethora of awesome apparel designed by our new social media manager, Brooke Kress, in her role coming on board here in 2024 and designing some really great stuff.
I got mine. I went up and bought 3 T-shirts yesterday. I was like, those are some really nice shirts.
They are. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
They're really beautiful shirts. I mean, they are obviously they're racing shirts, but I don't know about you, but for me, the racing shirts I like is I want this to be a racing shirt, but at first look, not everybody knows it's a racing shirt, right? It's just a cool shirt.
Right. But I like the fact that the boats on the backs of our shirts are very distinctive. So when you walk by, somebody's going to be like, oh, that's a racing shirt. But then they take a second look and go, but what kind? I've had numerous people come up to me and say, what's on the back of your shirt? And I have to, of course, go into the whole spiel. Go to apba.org and go look it up. And this is how all this racing happens and stuff. But it's so much fun to see all the drivers on there. And this year's shirt and this weekend's shirt has that special number on it.
Absolutely. Yeah, the 41 of Bobby Briggs. We don't really we're not going to go up to too much detail. We've got some great stuff coming up later in the program. But a great man. And it was a tragedy last year. And, it's great that we get to represent him and make sure that, everybody else understands how much we love this man and how big of a part of his family all of us are, right? Yep. We're all one big family here. We come to the races off the water. We're best of friends on the water.
Well, we saw it just a minute ago. We had how many different people were sitting on the back of that boat just saying, hey, let's help. How can we get up there to help? Same thing happened to Shelby when she was having issues. Everybody jumped on the Clover boat and said, hey, what can we do to help? We see that every single weekend. We are one big giant family.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily see that in all forms of motorsports, right? You see a very individualistic approach. Even within racing teams and other forms of racing, the drivers they do enough to get along, right?
Yeah.
To get along, to go along. They're not really super close. They don't share information. And we've got teams like the Outlaw F1 team. They have 4 F1 drivers on the Outlaw F1 team, and I don't think I've ever seen any of them yell at one another. They're always there to help each other. They're always pushing each other. No, they have some spirited conversation, but, at the end of the day, they're going to hug it out, and they're going to be like, hey, man, I love you, bro, because they're family. These guys spend so much time together, and here we go. Let's crown a champion in Formula Lights. 1 minute drivers, 1 minute on the pole, running for Clover Construction. Going back-to-back in heats 1 and 2. Can he make it a clean sweep on the weekend? The number 12, a Trident Schleicher. 50 seconds, drivers, 50 seconds. Then we've got the Texas First Bank, the 2 of Travis Thompson. Can he claim the top spot on the podium here in 24? 40 seconds, drivers, 40 seconds. Or will it be the Vienna, Austria native, the 42 of Hans Macaulay? Or could it be the lone female, the 24 of Shelby Love? 30 seconds, drivers, 30 seconds. Or could be the 66 of Randy Parch, the 35 of Mark Schmierbach coming from way back off the dock, or the 67 of Ricky Sober. Let's crown a champion in Formula Lights. 20 seconds, drivers, you're under starters' orders. He drops the flag. Who's going to get the good jump? Looks like the 12 of Schleicher is doing exactly what he's done all day long. Got a great jump there off the start pontoon, but so did the 2 of Travis Thompson. And here comes the 35 of Schmierbach. We got to watch out. If he can get enough room, he's going to do what he's really good at, which is kind of cut across the field. And it looks like we might have the 35 of Schmierbach and the 12 of Schleicher have a slugfest here as they go down into turn number 3. Off 3, Schleicher now holding the inside. Then the 35 of Schmierbach, then the 2 of Thompson. Man, the 35 of Mark Schmierbach is fast, and it looks like whatever gremlins were causing him problems, he's got them all dialed in and figured out here in the main event.
It looks like Triton's got his hands full with Schmierbach. Once Schmierbach was able to run those gremlins out of his pits, he is going fast and going from the outside. That's going to be the good race between those two. But our next race comes between Travis Thompson and the number 2. He's going to try and hold off Hans with the 42. Hans slips a little bit wide, gets really loose going over some of that dirty water.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction there after when he got together with the 12 of Trident Schleicher, trying to keep that older all-wood boat in one piece early on. But the 35 of Schmierbach bouncing all over, going inside, outside. Oh, watch out there. Oh, the 24 of Shelby Love slams into the 42 of Hans Macaulay. I don't know if she saw him or it was in the blind spot there. Hopefully the 42 of Macaulay is okay in that wood boat, but the 24 of Shelby Love goes dead in the water down in turn number between turns 3 and 4. Man, that was a rough hit there right into the side of the cockpit of the 24.
Looks like Triton's going to be able to make Triton's going to be able to make his way around along with Mark Schmierbach. Travis jumps on the inside of her. She's got boats going inside and outside of her, but she's starting to make her way down the river. The current is moving pretty fast. We saw that yesterday. Yep. Hopefully it moves her just enough outside that we can continue this race, because Triton Schleicher's like, keep that flag up. I want to finish this. I had to battle it off with Schmierbach in the 35. Finally able to put him in my rearview mirror. That's where I want to keep him, but it looks like Triton's going to go down turn number 1.
Oh no, 12 of Trident Schleicher lost power, and now he's in a bad way, because you cannot let the 35 of Mark Schmierbach get out in front of you, because he is a hard guy to pass on. I was just about to say, we talked yesterday about first and what we do here in the APBA, and Schleicher had it right there, right? Trident was ready to go. He was out in front. He goes dead in the water trying to navigate around his teammate, the 24 of Shelby Love, and the 35 of Mark Schmierbach just walks by him like he's standing still, and now he's got the arduous task of tracking down the most decorated Formula Lights driver in the history of the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series.
Looks like he still might be having issues. Travis Thompson's coming up quick on his inside in the number 2, but the 35 of Mark Schmierbach is starting to walk away. It looks like maybe there might be some steering issues. His driving skills have changed from that first heat to this one, so I'm wondering if maybe it might have tightened up or loosened up on him on that
What
belt.
about that trim issue he was talking about? You know, he said he ran it pretty neutral in qualifying heat number 2, and he might have, because where Shelby was at, he had to set the boat tight to the inside. As soon as he set it inside, the trim stuck. He couldn't trim it back out, and as you know, trying to get up to top speeds when your motor's tucked all the way in is almost impossible.
Exactly. You need to be able to use that trim to your advantage, and it looks like Mark Schmierbach was able to get that trim issue figured out on his side. Now if we can see if Triton Schleicher is going to be able to do it on the 12, followed by Travis Thompson in the number 2, Hans in the 42, and here comes, looks to be the 66
of Randy Parch, coming up trying to track down the 42 of Hans Macaulay. I'm just impressed that the 42 of Macaulay's still out there running. He got smucked hard by the 24 of Shelby Love. If you'd have told me a 2024 full composite Hoffman versus a 1994 all wood Hoffman, the wood boat would have come out and still been running, I'd have called you a liar right to your face.
Well, as you said earlier, the water conditions have changed just a little bit. This is an advantage for these Pew boats, but it's going to see if Mark Schmierbach is going to be able to continue to hold off Triton Schleicher. Triton is starting to actually now close the gap between him and Mark Schmierbach. Travis Thompson falling back into third along with the 42 of Hans. Hans has got the 66 coming up quick. That is going to be of Parch.
All right, it looks like I just got word from Chief Referee Doug Ray and the officials here. The 35 of Mark Schmierbach being penalized for chopping off his competitors and moving outside of his lane prior to the commitment buoy. That completely changes the dynamic of this race, Kay. That means the 35 of Mark Schmierbach is now a lap down on the rest of the field. So your leader still is the 12 of Trident Schleicher. This has been something that we focused a lot on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. You cannot cut off your competitors. You must maintain your lane past the commitment buoy. He started moving in on the 42 of Macaulay prior to that commitment buoy. It was reviewed on the live feed. They went back, we went to the truck, we took a look at the video footage. It was clear to all officials, and the ruling has already been made. So the 35 of Mark Schmierbach now actually in last place, well, second to last because the 24 of Shelby Love's dead in the water out there, but your leader still the 12 of Trident Schleicher in that Clover construction machine.
And who knows if Trident knows this at this point, because his radio personnel may not have told him or has told him, or maybe there's radio communication, because he is still driving that boat so hard, trying to jump up on the inside of Schmierbach in the 35.
Yeah, he's pushing hard there down the north end of the course. Goes down through turn number 3. Now looks like the 35 of Schmierbach, he's going to be able to get by him as they go side by side. I think the 35 of Schmierbach understands that, he's got to take his medicine, and his team has already alerted him as what's to happen. So he's kind of backed off a little bit, make sure that the drivers who are on the lead lap can fight it out. But how about the 42 of Hans Macaulay? I think that damage in that collision with the 24 of Shelby Love is starting to kind of rear its ugly head as the 42 of Macaulay is starting to slow down a little. I think we're going to see this all-green Clover construction machine start to catch up with the 42 of Macaulay and put him a lap down. But that does put the 66 of Randy Parch and the 2 of Travis Thompson on the podium with the 12 of Trident Schleicher as we follow our leader around the course here as he looks to eye up the 67 in that Landshark Bar and Grill of Ricky Sober, the other half of the Liquid Revelations racing team. Here as they, you can tell the off-season program really wasn't put a whole lot of emphasis on, and they're just kind of kicking out the gremlins here in the opening round, their first race of 2024.
Looks like Mark Schmierbach is moving to the outside, but the race now is starting to get closer. As you can see, Parch is starting to move closer over to Travis. He's starting to close the gap as they're making their way down the front stretch. Only a few laps to go for this Formula Light class.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have a battle for second and third because our leader, the 12 of Trident Schleicher, is way out in front. Who will come out in second?
As they make their way into turn number 3 and 4, it looks like Randy's going to try and jump on the inside. Travis slams the door in the number 2, making their way back down the front stretch. It looks like we're almost halfway through this on this champion Formula Light race.
Yeah, we've got, again, the 2 of Travis Thompson pushing hard. There's the 66 of Randy Parch going down to the inside. Now he's going to have to walk through the spray. The 2 of Travis Thompson, it does a great job of going pin to pin around the course. Look at the 66 of Sober, of Parch just getting chewed up in that wash. So hard to make up ground when you are constantly having to go in and out and over the wash of the competitor in front of you.
Well, it looks like Travis Thompson is just sure giving him a run for his money, but they are running for second and third. They are a half a lap behind the leader. Looks like he has got that number 12 Clover Construction dialed in perfectly for this weekend.
Well, and it looks like we're back on track for our first,
yes.
Right? We will have a celebration of our first, which is fantastic. And hopefully you can be a part of that live after you have a conversation with the young Trident Schleicher, as long as he can hold on, right? You can't finish first if you don't first finish. So he's got to finish first. We've got just a few laps remaining here in this main event in Formula Lights as we look to crown a champion at the 23rd annual Port Neches Riverfest. Here in the opening round of 2024 Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. And there's Schleicher now sets it down into turn number 4. Off of 4 and punches that foot to the accelerator. 65, 70, 75 plus miles an hour. And that all composite Formula Light machine. Schleicher comes down through turn 1, completing another lap here in this Formula Lights main event. The gap continuing to grow between him and the 2 of Travis Thompson.
Travis Thompson on the inside, but here comes Parch. He tries to jump back on the inside. These two have been duking it out, and it looks like Parch just about spun out coming out of turn number 2, able to straighten it out and go down the backstretch. That may cost him.
Yeah, he's really living it on the ragged edge because he's got to find everything out there. He's got to try every trick in the book to try to get by the professional that is Travis Thompson. This man has been on this water for over a decade. I think he said 15 years he's been racing here at the Port Neches Riverfest. He knows this water like the back of his hand. And it's smartly, he's in lane 2, keeping the speed up in the entrance pin. But when he comes off the exit pin, he goes from lane 2 to lane 1 so that Parch thinks he's got that clean water on the inside. And the place that you want more punch, the exit turn, He scrubs up all the water, and Parch just can't close that gap.
Parch just got the punch out of the corner, but the top end speed belongs to Travis as he makes his way into turn number 1. Following out turn number 1 to turn number 2. And Parch just about spun out one. He keeps getting right into that roller, and it just spins him out. You'd think he'd want to stay and just ride around on the outside because it looks like he might have a couple miles an hour on him.
Yeah, and it looks like, I don't know if he's comfortable going the long way around the course and going wide to the outside, but he continues to stay tight inside. Way overcorrected there coming out of 4 because, again, Thompson just keeps scrubbing that lane 2 to lane 1 and just says, hey, man, you can stay inside of me, but I'm eventually going to shut the door on you. You're going to have to cross through my wake, and you're never going to catch me. Hopefully he changes up his game plan here because we are close to the final lap here in this Formula Light main event. But right now, Trident Schleicher is just in a class of his own. We saw the 35 of Mark Schmierbach has now pulled off the race course. So even with the penalty, some of the other issues in that 35 machine, looks like they might have reared their ugly head again. So even if he wouldn't have been penalized, doesn't look like it was the weekend for Mark Schmierbach.
Yeah, it looks like they're just going to have to scrub off this weekend, clear their hands, and start fresh for the next weekend, unfortunately, for that 35 of Mark Schmierbach. But ours are going to go back out onto the water. Look at how Trident Schleicher is just flying the number 12 into turn 1. He's got a lot of room between him and the gap. It's a half a lap between him and second and third place.
And we still got that battle going for second and third as the two of Travis Thompson again shuts the door on the 66 of Randy Parch. Parch got to go back over his wake, but Parch does not want to live out in lane 3. As a racer, that seems to me to be surprising. Wouldn't you, if the guy kept shutting the door, you're like, all right, I'm going to move out to lane 3. I see a lot of drivers with experience do what I call the bait and switch, right? You'll sit out there in lane 3, sit out there in lane 3.
Exactly.
You start feeling this, the guy in front of you starts to feel that squeeze, and as soon as he moves out, you dive underneath him late in the straightaway. That way you can keep that entrance corner open and try to get cockpit to cockpit and run them out of the exit pin.
It's all in game plan and strategy. You're just making the other driver think, hey, you know what? He's just going to sit here on my outside. Fine, I'll just run my own race. And then all of a sudden, bam! And on the inside, they come and they have like a sneak attack. And that's exactly what he just tried to do. Looks like Parch tried to jump on the inside. But Travis, once again, sitting in lane 2, and he might be able to sneak in there on this one, slams the door and gives him a big gulp of water.
Right, and he has definitely got the top end speed, but why does he not stay to the outside there? Stay to the outside, keep the trim out, keep the foot in the gas, and pedal that thing, crab it out the outside, and use that top end speed to his advantage. I think this just speaks to maybe the inexperience in the 66 of Randy Parch. He's only been in a Formula Lights for a couple of years.
Because he stood right there on that one. Are you his secret little radio personality?
I assure you I don't have a secret radio bug in my headset going to the 66 of Randy Parch, but he knew he had to try something different. He was getting the same result lap after lap after lap, right? And what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing, expecting different results. Looks like he's changed up his game plan a little bit, but does he have enough time now to execute on that new game plan?
Might be too late in the game for him because now he's starting to slip back. Now he's going to jump on the inside because he's seeing that the effects of trying to hold out on the outside maybe didn't work. So now he's going to go back to his original game plan. Game plan A, game plan B. We got to go back and forth on this because this seems to be working for Parch, but he's running out of time.
Yeah, he really is running out of time. And it's Trident Schleicher so far out in front. He's not out as far as front as he was at one point, but he's still probably a good solid half a lap and run the field. And with us down 2 drivers in this smaller field here in 2024, right, that gives him more room to not have to worry about passing back markers. And it really makes it a lot easier for him to kind of just get into cruise control mode, which is great for a young driver because there's less margin. Right? There's not very much margin for error, but when you're out in front, say, hey, we don't got to live on the ragged edge. Run your race, keep it flat. Don't try to do anything too crazy.
Try and hide that big grin that's going on inside of that cockpit because he has got that going right now. Because Trident Schleicher, like you said, this is possibly could be his first. And not only has he got a first, but look at the lead he took. It's not that he just had to barely get the first. He just walked away from the rest of our Formula Lights.
Yeah, and honestly, I think he's kind of surprised himself. Now most drivers will tell you, like, of course I thought I was going to win. But in reality, he's probably going, holy crap, did I just win? Now, as long as he can hang on here, right, we're putting the juju out there to hopefully he can't hear us too much as he continues to drive his race here in this Formula Lights final. But, man, this battle between Sober and Thompson, not Sober, but Randy Parch, and I apologize, Randy, I get you and your teammate mixed up, and you look nothing alike. Your boats look nothing alike.
They did at one time. Remember, they were both white, and I was like, this has to stop.
Which is why it was so hard, right? And so the 66, Randy Parch, he's really the leader on the Liquid Revolutions team. He's really been pushing hard to grow his skill set. He's gotten a ton better over the last couple of years, but that 15-plus years here on the water in Port Neches is just hard to mimic if you've not had the practice like the Tua Travis Thompson has. And he's running his race. He's stuck to his guns. I don't think we've seen the Tua Travis Thompson change his game plan, which tells me that he's comfortable, right? Because when you're uncomfortable and you're like, oh, he's getting close, you'll see young drivers change their game plan. And when they change their game plan, they make mistakes. When they make mistakes, that's when the drivers behind you can jump on it and get out in front of you. And it looks like the Tua Travis Thompson, confident enough in his skill and his understanding of this race course, and he is driving that thing exactly the way he wants to. Now, I think he probably wishes he could catch the 12 with Trident Schleicher, but I think he realized going into the final, that kid gets out in front. As we see the white flag come out, go fast, turn left just 4 more times to the young driver out of Santa Rosa Valley, California. I think the Tua Thompson knew if he got out in the clean water, I don't know if I've got anything in my program to match that this weekend.
The only thing he's trying to do is make sure that he keeps Randy Parch on his back porch in the 66. Randy Parch is just going to sneak on the inside, and then it's going to be Travis. He's going to slam the door one more time. I want to know how much water is probably being shoved inside. I mean, yes, they are a closed cockpit. You can't tell me that there hasn't been a little bit of water being shoved inside the cockpit of that boat.
Right on.
But the checkered flag is out, and we're going to go ahead and bring our victory a first pending inspection.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner here at the 2024 Port Neches Riverfest in the opening round of the 2024 Formula One Powerboat Championship Series in the Formula Lights class out of Santa Rosa Valley, California. Running for Clover Construction, number 12, Trident Schleicher.
A great battle between that number 2 boat of Travis Thompson and Parch in the 66. As they go down here, they're kind of twiddling around down here. I think they're giving each other the thumbs up. That was quite a battle between the two of them. Second place goes to Travis Thompson in the number 2, followed by the 66 of Randy Parch.
Hey, you know what? And Randy's got to be ecstatic. He's bringing some hardware back to Florida. I don't think he came in this weekend really expecting to be on the podium from the conversations that we had, but a fantastic run for both the 66 of Randy Parch as well as the 2 of Travis Thompson. Big round of applause for the Texas First Bank sponsored entry. Local sponsored team bringing some hardware back to Humble, Texas. He's got to be stoked. I do have one quick thing. Attention in the pits. Lori Vidal, could you please report to the main Formula One Series backdrop in the pits? Attention in the pits. Lori Vidal, can you please make your way down to the Formula One banner in the pits, the big awards ceremony banner? Thank you. All right, well, we're going to get everybody off the water, and we're going to hopefully have an opportunity to chat with the young driver, the 12 of Trident Schleicher. What a run it was for the young driver. New addition in 2023 to the Clover Construction team. There he is out on the water, checker flag in hand. Ladies and gentlemen, let me hear you one more time. Put your hands together. His first win ever in Formula Lights. The newest addition to the Clover Construction team, number 12, Trident Schleicher. What a great run for that young man. I mean, he was dominant force all day. He did what normally we're used to seeing out of the 35 of Mark Schmierbach, but Schmierbach just did not have his weekend. I guess even the best drivers in any sport are going to have a bad weekend from time to time. This was that bad weekend for the 35 of Mark Schmierbach, but a great run for the 2 of Travis Thompson, getting some hardware in second position, and the 66 of Randy Parch getting bringing some hardware back to the great state of Florida as well. And our winner again, Trident Schleicher. We got that great overhead shot, checkered flag in hand. I can imagine the grin on that young man's face. If it could go further than ear to ear, he would. I don't know if that's physically possible, but you see him come in here with a checkered flag. He's got the lid open now. How excited is this young driver? Bringing some well-deserved hardware at CP Technologies, Clover Construction machine, formerly run by Kelly Ireland. Hey, Kelly, if you're watching, I hope you're proud, because the last time that boat was in the water, I believe You got a first place in Gulfport, Florida. And now that boat sat for a while as your duties as CEO of CP Technologies didn't allow you to necessarily run the race schedule that you wanted. And obviously, God rest your partner, Greg Foster. We miss him dearly, but I'm so happy that you were able to provide this equipment to the Clover construction team. And I don't think there's anybody happier than that young driver right there, that he got to hop into a gem of a Formula Light that you used to have, and he ran that thing all the way to like that big old raggedy red mop top on the head of Triton Schleicher, your 2024 Formula Lights champion here at the Port Neches Riverfest. It's a beautiful Sunday. The wind's picking up a little bit. The weather has held out much better than we expected this morning. Don't forget, we've got our official Formula One Powerboat Championship Series merch back up at the tent there. Check it out. You get all the hoodies, shirts, hats, koozies, all the great stuff. What a fantastic run. Team owner Spencer Love, super excited for the 12 of Triton Schleicher and his championship here in Formula Lights. So we're going to momentarily have an opportunity to chat with him and my colleague, Kay Brewer. We'll be right back with Formula One racing and an interview with our winner here in Formula Lights.
Mercury Racing was forged in the heat of competition. The will to win is in our DNA. Competition isn't just what we do, it's our proving ground. It's about the pursuit of power, performance, and endurance that pushes our limits and yours. We create premium marine power to take you faster and farther. The world offers limits. Mercury Racing offers freedom. Live wide open.
Why choose Classic? Because we're a local, family-owned dealership selling American brands at the best prices in town.
Hi, I'm Ben Case, General Manager at Classic, where our goal is to treat you like family.
Classic, Southeast Texas.
Bring the whole family out and enjoy 5 days of fun on the river when Neches Federal Credit Union presents the Port Neches Riverfest, May 1st through May 5th. Enjoy live thunder on the river, powerboat racing at its best. From the banks of the Neches River at Port Neches Riverfront Park, check out 5 days of carnival rides and daily ride wristbands available. There will be live entertainment, great food and drinks, games, and fun for the whole family. It's the Port Neches Riverfest, Wednesday, May 1st through Sunday, May 5th. For more info, visit pnriverfest.com.
We know how important it is, being neighbors. When we go to work every day, we're working for our families, for our schools, our kids, and local businesses and neighborhoods. For Southeast Texas, our roots are strong, and we're moving forward, innovating world-class financial tools for the folks here at home. We live local. We give local. And we're not going anywhere. Neches Federal Credit Union. Family, friends, community.
And welcome back here as we wrap up Formula Lights racing here at the opening round of the 2024 Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. We've got a new winner here in Formula Lights. His first time in the water running Formula Lights here at the Port Neches Riverfest. He took advantage of some rough water and some brutal conditions in a Love Original. That's a Seabold capsule, but built by the Love family. Yes, Spencer Love, Sean Love, that family. That Formula Light boat has a lot of wins in it in the past. I was just informed by team owner Spencer Love, and he's excited to see another generation of their family step into the cockpit and bring some more hardware back. But right now, we're going to turn it down to Kay Myers and a chat with our champion here in Formula Lights, Triton Schleicher.
All right, congratulations, Triton. It was very difficult for you. Okay, it was not. That was a great heat. But the beginning, you were still looking at the back end of Mark Schmierbach. What point did you find out that he was disqualified?
I honestly, I wasn't ever necessarily positive. To a point, I was still trying to catch him, and then I saw him kind of start going wide, and I figured he must have done something, so I eventually got back around him. But I came around that turn, and I went to get around Shelby, and my buttons are close to my wheel, and I hit my off switch, but I flicked it back in time to keep it going, and that's how he passed me in the first place. So.
We were wondering what happened, because when Shelby went dead in turn 2, we saw drivers going both inside and outside. We saw you try and cut on the inside, and then all of a sudden you lost power, and we were like, oh no, and then back up you went.
Yeah, I got it. It came back, luckily. It was frustrating in the moment. I definitely thought that it wasn't going to come back, but luckily it was just a stupid mistake. So
Well, mistakes happen, but you, sir, are holding your very first checkered flag. Congratulations. Tell us how you're feeling.
Pretty good. It's cool. I mean, I couldn't have done it without all the good equipment and lots of hard work that we've put in, a lot of hours in the last couple months. So never stops. I mean, we're always working. So I got a good team, and that's how you win.
Well, I know the Love family, along with Clover Construction, has done a lot of work to get you into that checkered flag. We're going to get you over there, get you through inspection, and then we're going to see you later on at the podium. Congratulations. Once again, Trident Schleichert.
Thank you.
All right, our winner here in Formula Lights, the young driver running for Clover Construction. What a great run it was for him. You know, I can appreciate how frustrated he had to have been there for a moment in time when he thought that he was the cause of his power unit going dead in the water there for a quick second, but thankfully he was able to get it fired back up and ready to rock and roll. He's on top of that thing, checkered flag in hand. What a great run for the young number 12 of Trident Schleicher. Looks like we might have the Tri-Hulls back up for their fourth and final qualifying heat. I know you haven't seen the big boys yet. The Formula Ones are coming. I assure you we had to juggle our program a little bit due to the wind and the rain and everything that's been coming through. Those of you from across the globe, wherever you are, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, here in 2024, not only do you get the live streams of the races every weekend they run. Here, there's our opening round just in 3 weeks' time. Memorial Day weekend, we'll be up in Shreveport, Bossier, Louisiana at the Red River Rumble. We'll have a live stream and live feed for that all race, but also new in 2024, a fully produced television show on Speed Sport 1 highlighting the intricacies and the amazing racing that goes on here week in and week out on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. So we're going to bring the Texas Trials back here. Obviously, we lost a few of them from the last heat. The 63 of Aaron Green, it looks like he probably isn't going to make it here in qualifying heat number 4. But we're going to have a little bit of a break here now between the Formula Lights final All right, race fans, for those of you down here at Port Neches Riverfest, I don't know if you can see this. It's down in the pit area here. But for those of you across the world, you're getting some great video footage of a tribute to our dear friend Bobby Briggs. Bobby, for those of you who were here last year, our racing ended on a pretty sour note, a pretty somber note. About 3/4 of the way through our Formula One final, it was a fantastic race. Our dear friend Bobby Briggs was battling in the mid-pack, trying to put together his best race, trying to help out, try to put him and his teammate as high up in the point standings as humanly possible. In a collision with another driver, he unfortunately lost his life. Our dear friend Bobby Briggs did. He died doing what he loved. He understood the risks of getting behind the wheel in a Formula One machine, and he did not take it lightly. But I can tell you, as a personal friend, Bobby Briggs left this earth doing what he loved. As all these drivers understand the risks, they're out here doing what they love. And they miss him just as much as I do and everybody in the boat racing community misses. So if we could please have a moment of silence for our dear friend who we lost last year, number 41, forever in our hearts, bumping, Bobby Briggs. let's take a look at the impact Bobby Briggs had on the Formula One powerboat racing community. Ladies and gentlemen, our chaplain for over 3 decades, Lori Vidal. In honor of our dear fallen friend, Bobby Briggs, the man who let anybody and everybody who got excited about Formula One powerboat racing sign his boat. And we're going to present to him and his family a signed helmet by all the drivers here on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. I'm going to make my way down there and have an opportunity to sign as well, because my dear friend had a phenomenal time with Bobby Briggs throughout the years. I miss him dearly. We all do. Rest in peace, my friend. We're glad you're looking down on us from above. We're going to run this one hard, as safe as possible, in your honor.
Mercury Racing was forged in the heat of competition. The will to win is in our DNA. Competition isn't just what we do, it's our proving ground. It's about the pursuit of power, performance, and endurance that pushes our limits and yours. We create premium marine power to take you faster and farther. The world offers limits. Mercury Racing offers freedom. Live wide open.
VP Racing Fuels has been the official fuel of racing for over 45 years. But VP isn't just race fuels. VP offers a wide range of oils, additives, and our new Stay Frosty coolants to help keep your street car, tow vehicle, or weekend warrior running at its best. VP products are engineered to keep your vehicle running smooth and looking great for your daily commute with our octane boosters, fuel treatments, and quick detailing products. Explore VP's full product line at vpracingfuels.com.
Welcome back, race fans. We are here at the 2024 Port Neches Riverfest. I am here with Dustin Terry. Dustin, you've got a whole new scheme going on over there in the pits with a brand new paint job and a lot of new drivers for the Outlaw group.
Yeah, it was supposed to start out as just me and Grant Schubert, and then we added in Travis. We had a third spot on the boat, and then a third spot in the trailer. Then all of a sudden Jeremiah came into the team. So, and then before we knew it, all the tri-hole guys wanted to have their own division. Well, that's just, they help us out so much that all of a sudden it just became a huge team. So yeah, so now we have 4 tri-holes, 4 F1 boats, and everybody's in crazy paint jobs. We've been working on it for a couple months now, and we're excited to show off everything.
Well, the paint job is a little vintage. Kind of explain where you got the idea from the new paint job.
So I think we're all fans of old school because that's where we came from. We kind of, the first thing you draw whenever you're a kid that's a boat racer, you start drawing race boats whenever you're little. So the boats I drew whenever I was little, you know, that's what I'm trying to mimic. But yeah, last year I ran a Bill Siebold tribute boat. It was Mercury Racing's 50th anniversary, and they had all this Mercury Racing 50 year. I gave a tribute to what the boats were 50 years ago, and that was Bill Siebold's 190. So we want to change it up every year. We don't want the same looking boat every year. So this year I went with something that he ran in the late 70s, early 80s. So another tribute to him, but I put my 03 back on. I wasn't winning enough to carry the 190, so I have the 03 back on for this season.
Well, the 03 sure has paid off because he's already started off the year with a top podium finish just last weekend in Freeport.
Yeah, we won in Freeport. We were excited. All the guys that were there were all trying new stuff. The only thing that we did was we just threw a V8 on. So V8s are good. We tested them in January, tested them again in March. I've done a lot of testing on them, so I think I was just a bit ahead of the curve on those guys. But this race coming up, a lot of guys been testing all over the country. So we'll see. We'll see where we measure up this weekend.
So what do you think about the new motor? I mean, do you think that this is going to be the evolution for Mercury? I think they're just coming along really well.
They are. They have been hands-on with us, and we're sticking by their side. They have done so much work to keep developing, keep tuning. We ran a bunch of different motor packages in January with Mercury, so that's exciting for me as a driver to be involved in the development of something. And they came out with that V8, and it measured up everywhere perfect with what the two-strokes are. So I'm excited about it. I would be back in a two-stroke if I didn't think this was going to be the winning package.
Well, what do you feel about the horsepower change? You've got a lot of difference there. I mean, what adjustments have you had to make as a driver inside the cockpit to adjust to the new horsepower?
Well, so it's a little bit different. The motor's heavier, so we thought that we would be experiencing more of issues with setup in the boat and balance of the boat. Come to find out, the additional power just kind of pushes you through the problems that the V6 had. So not much faster, just more torque, and it comes off the line a little bit better. We could go into a long explanation as to why it leaves a little bit better, but just if you were at a race, we'd be happy to have a couple beers and tell that conversation with you over a long period of time.
All right, well, we're going to let you get back to work, and we're going to have seen you later on this afternoon with the Outlaw Group with that brand new paint scheme. It's always fun to see Dustin Terry out on the water.
So, I mean, obviously I ran Tri-Hall for several years. I won the Nationals when I was 16 and Mini Grand Prix. It's kind of where I got my feet wet, and ran Tri-Halls, and then decided to step up. Did a little testing and stuff with Ashton and kind of decided we would team up, and we put together a pretty good package, and we've kind of grown it from there. I've got 2 boys and still an 81-year-old father racing in Tri-Halls, and so there's a lot of passion, a lot of love, a lot of racing still to come. So I'm looking forward to see what they do. Tanner and Mason are doing an incredible job. Mason did really good in Freeport last weekend. It was super neat to see him win. I broke down on the side, and I was more excited than I would be if I had won the race. So it was really cool to watch.
Welcome back, race fans. We are here for the 2024 Riverfest here at Port Neches. I was able to catch up to Mr. Chris Fairchild of the 62. Chris, 2 boats here. What's going on?
I'm hard on equipment. The last time we had the green and gray one in the water, we blew the bottom out of it. We sort of rigged the all gray one in a hurry. So now we're back with 2 boats because they both float, and I guess Kevin doesn't want to get out of here with 2 perfectly ready rigs. So we're going to go see what's up.
Well, of the 2, which one do you feel more comfortable in? That's the big question.
I never spend much time in either one of them. So which one do I feel is going to be the fastest one? Well, I feel it's going to be the gray one, but I've won big races in both of them. So time will tell. We're going to go have some fun.
Well, the weather here has just been a little bit iffy, and I know you like to ride it on the edge out there on this river. And, you know, give us your driver's aspect of running down the river when you've got all the different currents.
I've raced at Port Neches for many years. I've had about a year off from racing, so naturally I'm a little older. I'm a little rustier. So we'll see how it all comes back to me. But the river really, because there aren't a lot of tributaries in the place where the race course is at, we don't have a lot of current. It's a shipping channel, so it's an extremely deep channel. So what's going on the bottom doesn't necessarily affect the surface. Like motocross racing, like car racing, the surface is everything. With boat racing, the bottom of the river is everything, and the bottom of the river and that current flow affects what the surface is doing. We don't have too much of that here. If the wind picks up because we got the storm front in and the water gets rough and nasty, that's one of the biggest problems here. Wind picks up, the water gets nasty, and when it comes down the boat ramp, you got a gust right at the end of the straightaway to pick you right up off the water. So it should be exciting.
Well, you've been here just a few times, and what is your favorite part about coming here to the Riverfest?
Oh, that's easy, the people. The people. There's no better town. There's no better group of people. You come here, the barbecues at night, the way the fan base here in Port Neches loves you. That's my favorite part. We have a very good time in Port Neches. Win, lose, or swim, we have a good time in Port Neches.
Well, hopefully you'll keep your feet dry. That's the whole point of this weekend. You got 2 boats to go test. Testing's going to be starting here, and we got qualifying and heat races. Good luck to you this weekend. Chris Fairchild.
I appreciate you. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Yeah, you got to win some to lose some, but unfortunately, you have gone upside down a couple of times. Kind of tell us about your training when you have to do that. All the drivers do have to take what's called a capsule training. Explain to our viewers what a capsule training is like.
So what we do is it's the safety cell that you sit in. They belt you in. You go under with divers. They teach you everything that you're going to do. So you'll sit in there, belt in. They'll run you through what's going to happen. Take you to a pool, they'll flip you upside down. You've got to climb out of there. Divers are there with you. They'll run you through a couple of times, make sure you can get out, and then they're going to put you back in, make you stay in there, feed you oxygen, make sure you know how to do that in case you're ever injured or you're stuck, you can't get out of there. You're going to have to breathe oxygen, make sure you can do that a couple of times, and then after that you pass the training and you're good to go. You can get in the F1, tri-hole 45, anything like that. So it's just our basic safety training that you have to pass in order to get in a tunnel boat or any sport boat out here.
So this is a Formula One boat, and it's a brand new setup for us, new boat this season, so we've been working to get everything ready. Time trials, we started in 6th place going out there, and we knew it was going to be a little rough, but the boat got through everything pretty well. We started in 6th, we moved up to 4th, and we were getting ready to take over 3rd place right there, and we were right on his hip and just hit some crazy waves. You can't really see everything in front of you all the time because you got spray in front of you and other boats, so I didn't really see these big waves coming in, and it popped up the boat, and as the boat was coming down, it went down into another wave and just completely submerged under the water. It did a little damage to the front of the boat here, but got the motor a little wet. So we're working through it right now, getting everything cleaned out, getting the boat ready to go for the next race. So yeah, we should be back out there later today. And hopefully the weather cooperates. It gets a little crazy out here at this course, especially because you got waves bouncing off the sides of the the area here where the docks are, and that it kind of forms a huge huge hole there. So like when you're driving a boat, you're going full speed, if you see a hole there, your boat's sometimes just going to sink into it, and there's not a whole lot you can do. But we got people on the radio, we do the best that we can, try and get a heads up on what's coming up ahead of us and what to look out for. But yeah, you can't watch for everything. And when you're on asphalt racing cars and stuff, you can kind of know what to expect a little more. But out there on the water, it's always up in the air.
Welcome, race fans. We're here at Port Neches for the 2024 Riverfest. I was able to catch up to Andrew Tate, a very busy guy throughout the year of 2024, but we're going to look back at 2023, your rookie year. Give us a little intake of what happened.
Well, it was definitely a learning curve for us, a steep one at that. I think we're still kind of gelling as a team and figuring out what we know and what we don't know, where we need to get better, and really what we need to work on to be competitive with some of the big dogs here on the series that have been doing it year after year. So it started off rough here last year in Port Neches. We tipped over. The water was rough. The team worked all night Saturday to put it back together, and we were back on the water on Sunday. So definitely a learning experience, and we're going to continue to learn, hopefully be a little more competitive this year.
So currently I'm running a composite craft built by RJ West, running a 254 stroke made by Mercury Racing. It's a good setup. It's a work in progress. Currently racing against the 2.5 for Mercury, and all sorts of holes. The 2.5s are a little more agile than the 4 strokes, and that's something I'm trying to work towards.
Welcome back, race fans. We are here for the 2024 Port Neches Riverfest. I'm here with RJ West of Composite Crafts Racing, along with Chuck Skelton Racing in the 93. You went out there in the water, did a lot of testing. What all were you testing for?
Really just trying to get the feel of the course. It's always a little bit different to where they put the buoys down and stuff like that. So I'm out there just trying to get comfortable and learn my marks. And then at that point, after that, we start doing a little bit of prop testing and try to see what direction we need to go to be fast.
Well, you're one of the lucky ones that gets to work hand in hand, not only with Mercury Racing, but DeWald Props. That combination makes you right up there on the top podium pretty much every weekend.
Well, Dave's a good friend of mine. I was literally on the phone with him when I got back to the trailer. But to be honest, our R&D actually helps everybody here because they get the same props we got. There's no preference here, so that's how it works.
Yes, but working with Mercury, you've done a lot of changes over the last few years. Give us some insight on what they have done to help you be successful.
Well, it's a big deal. We've ran 3 different motor combinations in the last 3 years, and they've been trying to hone on to make it work with the 2-stroke motors as well to be equal. And so now we're on a whole new platform here with a V8, an actual production V8 under the cowling. Seems to be really competitive. I think it's going to be a really interesting weekend.
Well, last year you ended off with a very good year. You've already started off this season with a great win down in Parker, Arizona, and now we're already seeing you out there, and you were fast out there in testing.
Well, they don't give trophies out for testing, so we're going to work hard. I mean, we're going to work as hard as we can and just try to be competitive.
Well, good luck for the rest of the weekend. RJ West of the 93 Composite Craft, Chuck Skelton Racing.
And welcome back, race fans, as we get ready to go here for our 4th and final Texas Tri-Hall heat. And it's kind of it's perfect timing for this next piece that we're going to have coming up here. The Rinker clan, right? The compound that we have. They've got 3 Tri-Halls normally, only 2 right now due to the damage in the 52 at Tanner Rinker. But what happens the next heat? Of course it does. The 52 at Tanner Rinker, they put the 52 on the 10 boat. Jerry takes a step back. He's like, I've won like 5 national titles. I've got tons of hardware. And of course, right, if you talk to Jerry, there's nothing he loves more than talking about his kids and his grandkids, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody was surprised when we saw the 52 on the 10 boat. But the Rinker clan, right? They are the first, maybe the second family of boat racing. Siebold's the first family. Rinker is definitely the second family. You're not necessarily categorizing them one versus who's better. It's just the Rinker family is the new first family of boat racing, and we had an opportunity to sit down with them and chat a little bit what it's like to be a part of the Rinker clan here at the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series.
So we have here is a tri-hull. Me, my brother Tanner, and my grandpa Jerry run tri-hulls, and my father runs F1. So 3 generations of Rinker racing out here this weekend.
Oh man, the condition of the boat, it's done for. I'll be done for the weekend, but in this boat. But thanks to my grandpa, he's gonna let me run his boat tomorrow, and hopefully earn some valuable points for this season.
Well, he's got a big hole in the bottom of it, and I got in trouble in that last heat, and I think they're going to throw me out, period. So I'm going to let him drive it. I mean, it's a man's boat. He may have a little trouble, but he can drive a boat. And he's got the second best prop we have. Mason has the first best. They come in and they're like little babies. Oh, my back hurts. My neck hurts from my helmet getting thrown around like this. It doesn't bother me at all. I mean, it really doesn't.
Hello? Hello? I don't know what to do with my hands.
This race and this series has the best rescue in the world. I mean, I'm very comfortable knowing that they've got my back if something happens. And over the years, something has happened. So I've been upside down once or twice. It's okay.
We're both up here dying. Chris Rinker, the real deal, my friend. Yeah, well, he knows what to do with his hands. He puts them around that steering wheel and runs it like he's stolen. He's been doing that all day. He qualified fast. He won the first heat. He's going to be going last off the dock later today. A little update on our schedule, folks. We got the fourth and final qualifying heat for Texas Tri-Hall coming up. And then after that, we're going to go back-to-back Formula One heats. We had to change things up. For those of you not watching the national news, Eastern Texas has been absolutely decimated with rain. I don't know if you saw it at all, but I was watching the news last night after I got back to my hotel room about, 10:30 or so. And just north of us here, we're talking like whole towns are underwater. People are being notified by the National Guard that if you don't get out now, we're not going to get to you for like 3 or 4 or 5 days. So hopefully you've got enough rations. It's been, the amount of water that has fallen in eastern and southeastern Texas is just astonishing. And it's caused all sorts of havoc with our program. We saw, Tanner Rinker had a huge log punch a monster hole in the bottom of his boat, which had Jerry and the team, kind of moving things around. But we got a jam-packed afternoon, and it's going to be real interesting to see how those back-to-back Formula One heats go.
I know. I was talking to some of the drivers yesterday saying, we did have to call it early, and I said, what are you going to do if we have to do back-to-back? And they're like, I don't know. That puts a big wrench into their gameplay. Sometimes they'll change up things depending on the weather. And, you usually have just a little bit of a game break or a little bit of time between the heats to be able to either make a prop change or make an adjustment to the boat, change where the weight distribution is at. Unfortunately, these drivers are not going to have that opportunity if we're going to go back-to-back.
Yeah.
That's going to make it a little bit interesting.
Well, and you don't have the ability to change setups for the weather, right? We don't know what it's like today.
Or look at the conditions from this morning.
It was so much rougher this morning.
Whitecaps out there.
Yeah, it was brutal this morning to the point where we had to move our Formula Lights class down to the opposite end of the race course. Obviously, the Formula Lights running on a much smaller course with those smaller boats. But, the 52 of Chris Rinker, we love the real deal. He puts a lot of fun in our days. But he had an opportunity to chat with our folks about what the weather is truly been like out there on the course here at the 2024 Port Neches Riverfest.
Yeah, so starting early this week, we had some massive storms hit the Houston area all the way over to Beaumont and down into the Port Neches area and dumped an absolute ton of water on us. And the rivers are just swelling. The amount of water flowing into the Gulf right now is unreal. So we're dealing with a lot of high water. We're dealing with a lot of debris. Fortunately, I didn't see hardly any debris today, and hopefully it's the same tomorrow. But with that, we had lots of rain and lots of wind, and the wind brings rough water. The tide is kind of a factor in this river, so when you got water pushing back against the wind, you get some swells and some crazy rough water. And fortunately, we were able to manage our way through the turns. Turn 3 and 4, I believe, were pretty bad. But we've got a good setup with this moor and absolutely dominated today.
Yeah, so even their top competitors, Kate, the weather is on their mind, right? They understand what it can do. It's even riskier than normal out here because, as you know, right, you get in these rivers and they start swelling from flooding. Logs and tree branches will make their way onto the course. I saw earlier today we pulled out about a 6-7 foot piece of log. For those of you watching a few years ago, remember the 24 Spence Loving? We talked about it yesterday. on fighting for the win in a green-white checkered 3-lap dash for cash in the final event. He comes off and picks up a 25-foot long, 1.5 around diameter log into
like a railroad tie.
Yeah, into the skeg,
Yeah.
right, of his lower unit. For those of you unfamiliar with the setup of a boat, the skeg on that lower unit is what kind of knifes through the water. Ours are very lean. They're very sharp-edged. So, I mean, he buried that lower unit into it. It's super unfortunate for the 24 Spencer Love because I think he would have been able to run from the outside.
That was going to be close.
It was going to be
close.
close.
He had RJ on the inside of him. It was going to be fun to watch those two
It
duke out.
absolutely was, and he never really got the opportunity. But that's, again, one of the things that there's so many dynamics that are uncontrollable in boat racing, right?
Yeah.
People ask me all the time, you think boat racing's harder than car racing? I'm like, yeah.
The water's always changing.
Right.
The pavement
One,
doesn't all that much.
For sure. 2, we all drive cars.
Yeah.
And if you think a boat acts like a car, you're nuts because they don't.
Here's another factor. When you're driving your car through these rainstorms that we're having, you have windshield wipers. If you look on all these boats, they don't. There's no windshield wipers on their helmets for these open cockpits. There's no windshield wipers on the tunnels. So basically, they go into what I call no man's land. When you go into turn 1, water spraying everywhere, boats are all over the place, and then they have their radio personnel here on the beach saying, hey, got one on the right, got one on the right, got one on the right, hook it left, hook it left. Well, they're seeing it from a different perspective as the driver. Me as a driver, I've gone into that wall of water. It is not fun, but you literally have to just stick your head down and just ride through it all the way through turn 1 and hope you come out in first. You know, we've seen that today. We've seen that a couple times when there's boats getting real close going into turn 1.
And we see finally making it back on the water. He got it upright. He got the steering fixed, and the 69 of Cole Mullet-Wearing making it back out for this 4th and final qualifying heat. Yeah, you know, and then you add in there when we have this massive torrential rains like this, it'd basically be like on a NASCAR track, they threw a bunch of nails out, and you had to randomly, hopefully, miss the nails so they didn't pop your tires. That's what our drivers deal with. You know, it's funny, I don't remember the driver. I don't remember where it was or when it was because I was a very young child. And I was lucky enough to spend my childhood listening to my father do exactly what I get the pleasure of doing every race as a kid. And he told me that they had a 2-seater over in Europe, and they brought the reigning Formula One car champion as kind of a promotional piece and give him a ride in a 2-seater. Now, this is a man who does 200 miles an hour in a car.
Yep, I'd do it.
He took 2 laps, got out and said, never again. Give me brakes. This was the most insane thing I have ever seen. So if a Formula One car driver can respect what our drivers do out here, it gives you a better perspective of what it truly takes to be a Formula One powerboat racer. It takes so much dynamic. It's so much skill. But that skill's not lost in our class that's on the water now.
I was just going to say, you're talking about skill level right here with our tri-hulls to be
or
able
maybe a bit of insanity.
Yeah. And, you know, I was already walking by all of them, talking to all of our fans, and I'm like, are you all ready for the tri-hulls? They're like, oh, bring on the bumper boats.
Absolutely.
This is so much fun to watch. Drivers of all ages and, you know, even skill level, like you said. We got brand new drivers out here.
Yeah, and it's it's the fan favorite for sure here in the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series as we're bringing them down the front straightaway. Let's take a look. And it looks like still on the inside of row 1, that looks like that might be the 56 of Clint Dillard, or it's the number 52 of Tanner Rinker. Let's take a look. Before we get started, we're about to get ready to roll. Yeah, it's the 52 of Tanner Rinker on the inside, the 54 of Darren Ware on the outside, the DD1 of Andy Miller on the inside of row 2. We drop the flag. Then it's the 69 of Cole Mullet-Wearing on the outside of lane 2. Here we go. We're underway. The 4th and final qualifying heat. The 52 of Tanner Rinker. Can he go back-to-back, wire-to-wire here in qualifying heat number 4?
He does have some of the fastest equipment out here on the water, so we're going to have to wait and see if he can do that with his driving skills right through it. But look at these guys all. We're going to have Rinker versus Rinker.
What a great move there by the 37 of Mason Rinker. He dove down to the inside, hugged it tight, and was able to get by 3 boats and finds himself up in 3rd place, going deck to deck, side by side with the 54 of Darren Ware. But then he looks in his rearview mirror, Kerry, and there's our 2-time defending champion, the dude, the number 17 of Neil Marsh, who's kind of quietly been chugging along here. But boy, we got him battling hard for the final 2 spots on the podium with here goes Rinker, 1-2, starting to pull away from the field.
It looks like Neil Marsh was able to squeeze his way through there, but Grant Schubert keeps trying to squeeze in. And look at Ruben get real loose coming down that start-finish line. Tanner Rinker just about spun it out. He knows he's got his brother coming up quick. And Neil Marsh in that 17. He's going to trim it out and fly down that backstretch.
And there we see that's the 26 of Preston Sherman getting by the 69 of Cole Mullet wearing. Glad to see he's back out on the water. There's the 37 of Mason Rinker. He's now going to set to do battle with the 17 of Neil Marsh as he looks through his rearview mirror and sees him hanging out on his left hip. They go down into turn number 2 on the north end of the course. The 17 of Marsh on the inside. The 37 of Mason Rinker wide to the outside. There's the 54 of Darren Ware holding on to 4th place, but he has to relinquish a spot to the 13 of Grant Schubert. Now he's going to charge hard and try to catch the 2 boats going on a screen right now. It's a 17 of Marsh.
Neil Marsh dives on the inside, but Mason Rinker slams the door on him. Neil shoved to the outside. Here comes Grant Schubert in the 13.
And he's
JH Performance.
Able to pull away from the 54 of Darren Ware. What a great move there with that Mercury 4-stroke motor on the back of that Texas Tri-Hull, a new boat in 2024, and he's driving that thing like he's been in it for years. With the 37 of Mason Rinker doing a great job of holding off the 17 of Neil Marsh. And you know what, Kay? I guarantee the 52 of Tanner Rinker's like, all right, bro, just keep doing it. Keep driving him all over the race course, and I'm going to walk away. And I think he didn't get any points yesterday due to all the struggles and frustrations he had, but with back-to-back wins here in Heat 3 and Heat 4, I think we're definitely going to see the 52 of Tanner Rinker near the top for that main event starting grid here later on this afternoon.
Neil Marsh is driving the heck out of that Tri-Hull. Look at him just hop through there trying to find somewhat clean water. I don't know if there's possible in this area right now because each lap this thing just gets worse
Tri-Hull,
and
there's
worse.
no clean water.
I don't think there is such a thing as clean water. But it looks like Mason is going to try and do everything he can to hold off Neil Marsh. Here comes Grant Schubert in the 13 as he slides way wide. Something looks different for Grant. Usually he's pegging those buoys.
Well, I think he's going wide to the outside because he knows he's got a lot of ground to make up, not very many laps left, and he's got to keep those RPMs up, keep that top end speed. He doesn't need to hold off a guy to the inside, so he's trying to set himself up so that he's almost turned and into the straightaway before he gets through the corner. He's almost kind of like you do in a canoe where one pedal goes forward and the other one goes backward at the same time. He's kind of hammering that right when he gets to the corner, so he's already into the straightaway by the time he gets into that turn.
Tanner Rinker went way wide, opening the door to brother Mason Rinker in the 37. Neil Marsh is going to try and thread the needle, coming right on the outside of Mason Rinker in the 37 as they start to make their way up to back traffic. That's going to be another factor right there.
Right, well, and you got to think that these two know, right, all right, listen, if I stay in lane 3, right, and I let Mason run in lane 1 and 2, that's 3 lanes that Neil Marsh now has no clean water. That's the best thing they can do, is not run in each other's lane, but run, I'll take 1 and 2, you take 3 and 4, and we'll just weave between them, and Marsh has got nowhere to go. As we see the white flag comes out, go fast, turn left just 2 more times for the young driver trying to go back-to-back here in heats 3 and 4, but that gap is closing. The 37 of Mason Rinker's like, hey, bro, I'm going to keep Marsh at bay, but please believe I will pass you if given the opportunity.
And I think he will, because he said, Grandpa Jerry said, he's got the second best prop on there. Now we're going to see as they start to make their way up into back traffic. It's going to be Tanner Rinker. Here comes Mason quick on the inside as they're going to go side by side down the backstretch.
And can the 37 of Mason Rinker find some clean water? Obviously, the 52 of Tanner Rinker's got stuck behind the 26 of Preston Sherman. This could right here in the final turn of the final heat. Can we have a lead change here as the 37 of Mason Rinker goes wide to the outside? The 52 of Tanner Rinker splits the middle, and ladies and gentlemen, by a nose, going back-to-back in heats 3 and 4, the 52 of Tanner Rinker, followed by the 37 of Mason Rinker, the 17 of Neil Marsh, and the 13 of Grant Schubert. What a run for Rinker Racing here in qualifying heat number 4.
I don't know if Tanner realized how quick Mason was coming up, because it seemed like on those last couple laps he started to get a little lax, started to say, hey, I got my comfort zone. But like you said, you can't finish on this heat and get into the final if you got another broken boat. Broke one boat. I don't think Grandpa would be too happy if he broke 2 in one.
No.
Weekend.
And it's one of those things, right? All right, I want to finish the race, but I can't allow myself to get up into those back markers, because as soon as I do, if I have any issues trying to get around him, that gap between me and my brother is going to disappear. So I think he was, throttling the pedal a little bit, backing off strategically, but he just ran out of room, and he's like, all right, now I got to deal with these back markers. And sure enough, down at this north end of the course, he got stuck right behind the 26 of Preston Sherman, which really allowed the 37 of Mason Rinker to close the gap. But tip of the cap to the 52 of Tanner Rinker, because in that turn, he's like, all right, I got to nail this turn. He nailed it. He threaded the needle, not getting behind the 26 of Sherman or the 54 of Darren Ware, but split the difference between them didn't allow them to close the door on him, forced his brother to go way wide to lane number 4, and that basically sealed the deal for him because Mason just, while he has the faster top-end prop, he just ran out of real estate.
Exactly, and this is one of our smaller courses, one of our rougher courses. The water is just still out here, just nasty. But, congratulations once again, back-to-back wins for Tanner Rinker, and along with brother Mason Rinker, we got Rinkers up on the podium.
I think Mason really needed that. He definitely's got a bit more ground to make up than his brother. He didn't finish nearly as high. Obviously, his brother won heat number 3, so I think Mason's going to have his work cut out for him in the main event. But I really see this as, there's about 4 or 5 guys that really have a shot at this. You look at both Rinkers, Mason and Tanner, the 17 of Marsh, the 13 of Schubert are really your top 4. And then the 88 of Wells. If he can get out early, he proved yesterday that with clean water, he's a force to be reckoned with, but that's the tricky part, right? It's hard to find a clean lane, especially in those first couple of laps. And sometimes if you make one false move in lap 1, you get shuffled so far back that you just don't have enough time to climb back up there. But thankfully for some of those mid-pack guys, they know, hey, instead of 7 laps, I got 20 in their main event coming up later, right before our Formula One final here at the 23rd Annual Port Neches Riverfest.
Here's one thing I'm really happy to see. We saw the mullet back out on the water.
Yeah, impressive.
We had thought maybe he was done after, he had to be brought in basically like a submarine. But they brought it in, got it up there, dried it out, and he had a great race out there. I think he did good. For a new driver in the sport, Grant Schubert brought him into the tri-halls, and, he has done phenomenal things in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, Grove, Oklahoma, he just ran his race, didn't really pay attention to anybody, found himself on the podium. I talked to him after that last year in Labor Day weekend in Grove, Oklahoma, and he said, if you would have told me before today that I would have brought hardware home, I'd have been like, you're nuts, man. And I think, and that's good to see. Obviously, I think he was a little tentative after the steering cable issue that he had, right? You don't want to do that twice in a row. So he was just trying to feel it out. Obviously, a new steering, it's not going to be the same as it was before. So you kind of got to relearn a little bit because, the cables have not stretched out. They're new cables on the steering system, which makes it tougher. So no surprising he was shuffled back a little bit, but I'm just glad to see him out there so he did collect some valuable points to be able to keep himself a little bit maybe further up the starting grid in our main event later today.
Exactly. Some points are better than no points, and it was great to see him out here. A great run once again by Tanner Rinker of the number 52.
Yeah, and I'd be curious to see how this shuffles up the points. Again, remember, folks, we go first to worst, worst to first. We flip the script on our qualifying heat. So if you took first in heat 1, you got to start last in heat 2, right? After 2 heats, we total up the points, and you get to start out in front, and then we continue to keep reshuffling the point orders, the order of starting based on the total points accumulated through those heats. Now we've got all qualifying done. It's it. The grid is set. We now know, as our chief scorer, Lindsay Matthews, is totally everything up right now, we know exactly who's going to start on the inside of row 1. And we know in Tri-Hull, you get inside row 1 and you get that shot at that clean water for at least a couple of laps. It's going to be huge. But the one thing that we've seen that's the equalizer in the final is the ability for those additional laps to bring back markers severely into the picture. And that is great for guys like Neil Marsh and Grant Schubert.
I would have liked to have seen maybe 2 more laps because it was just the last 2 laps where that back traffic became an issue between Tanner and Mason Rinker.
For sure.
And Mason came up quick. Like, he found that little groove, found that hole. Tanner got stuck behind the back traffic. 2 more laps, that might have made a little bit more of an interesting race. But finishing as close as they did, congratulations once again to the Rinker clan.
Absolutely. You're going to head down there now. The 52 of Tanner Rinker is making his way out of the boat as he just got off the water, having a chance to chat with him and what it feels like to go back to back. It's a hard thing to do in Tri-Hull. I think the only person who's been doing a lot of that lately has been the man who is our back-to-back series champion, the 17 of Neil Marsh, the dude out of Hemlock, Michigan, and all his great sponsors that make him allow him to come down here to the Gulf Coast of Texas. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just checked my phone, and one of our fellow drivers who wasn't able to make it out here this year, former teammate of Bobby Briggs, just texted me and said, hey, man, I really appreciate that. He said he's going to be back. We understand how difficult it might have been for Jimmy to make his way down here. He lost a really, really good dear friend this same exact weekend last year. And I'm just glad to see that Jimmy's going to be back in full force, and he's a heck of a driver, and we're really missing that he's not here. And I guarantee you a lot of the Formula One drivers are very happy that the 71 of Jimmy Kerr's not here, because that just make their weekend a lot harder. So I apologize for getting a little off kilter there, but looks like I'm waiting for my team to make it way down in the pits. We got the 52 of Tanner Rinker is now out of the boat and just about to join my partner in crime here this weekend in all races throughout 2024. K-Dub, as we call her, Kay Myers. I'm going to turn it down to her. Kay, and the winner, going back-to-back here in the final 2 qualifying heats, the 52 of Tanner Rinker.
Congratulations once again, Tanner Rinker. That was a great heat. You had the pole position on the inside to start, took off. At what point did you see the bright yellow of your brother coming in on your rearview mirror?
Oh, towards the end of the race, those last 2 laps, he came up quick on me, and I just had to make sure he stayed back there.
Well, you came up to traffic, and that was an advantage for him, a disadvantage for you, because you kind of got stuck in that traffic coming for the checkered flag.
Yeah, I had to maneuver my way through some traffic. It was a little tough. Got in some rough water, but made it through.
A little tough. Have you watched from the beach how you guys just beat each other up, slamming your bodies around in these tri-halls? What part of little tough? I'd have to say it's big tough.
You got to be pretty tough to be out there. Your back's killing you, your neck, everything. So you just got to pop some Aleve and get back after it.
Okay, well, we heard this earlier. Your grandpa was like, oh, they're such babies. They come in, their back hurts, their neck hurts. And you just said it.
Yeah, he's given me a lot of mess for being a little baby sometimes, but you get used to it, I guess.
Congratulations once again, Tanner Rinker of the 52 Rinker Boat World. Another checkered flag belongs to you.
Thank you.
Right back to you, Tom.
Yeah, thanks, Kay. Well, can the 52 of Tanner Rinker continue the dominance here in the back half of qualifying and parlay that into his first, I believe. I don't think the young man, as a part of the Rinker clan, has won a tri-hull race yet. I'm going to get confirmation of that. So, yes, I did just get confirmation from crew chief on the Rinker Boat World team that the 52 of Tanner Rinker has never won a race, so we could potentially have our second first. Meaning, right, the first time a driver in the American Powerboat Association wins their first race, we have a bit of a celebration. It's almost a rite of passage. It permeates across all classes in the American Powerboat Association, and how great it has been. We could not only have one, but possibly two. Hey, and while we got a quick break here, folks, don't forget, swing down right in front of the midway in the food concession area. We've got the official Formula One Powerboat Championship merch tent. Go down there, grab yourself a t-shirt, muscle shirt, hats, koozies. We got all sorts of great stuff. Grab a marker. You might be able to get your favorite driver to give you an autograph on that shirt. We've got ones with schedules. We've got ones with different driver boats on them. You know, and the big thing is if you want to be a part of the celebration of our friend Bobby Briggs, they've all got a commemorative piece on each one of those t-shirts to our dear friend that we're celebrating here 1 year after the tragedy that ended the 2023 Port Neches Riverfest, as we're looking to put a bright spot and a highlight on what was an unfortunate tragedy moving forward. We know Bobby's looking down with his great racing friends, Greg Foster and all the other drivers that we lost throughout the years. But these two guys here are the most recent, and looks like we might have another drone up there. Okay, no, never mind. Hey, by the way, thanks for those of you who yesterday took me serious and pulled your drones down. I do appreciate it, but looks like we've got our Formula Ones getting ready to get in the water here for the third and final heat. We're the second and third and final heat of the Formula One Powerboat Championships Formula One class qualifying. But while we've got a quick break, we got to say a big shout out to our phenomenal sponsors here on the 2024 Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. We'll be right back with Heats 2 and 3 in Formula One as we set our final lineups for our main events later on this afternoon.
Mercury Racing was forged in the heat of competition. The will to win is in our DNA. Competition isn't just what we do, it's our proving ground. It's about the pursuit of power, performance, and endurance that pushes our limits and yours. We create premium marine power to take you faster and farther. The world offers limits. Mercury Racing offers freedom. Live wide open.
VP Racing Fuels has been the official fuel of racing for over 45 years. But VP isn't just race fuels. VP offers a wide range of oils, additives, and our new Stay Frosty coolants to help keep your street car, tow vehicle, or weekend warrior running at its best. VP products are engineered to keep your vehicle running smooth and looking great for your daily commute with our octane boosters, fuel treatments, and quick detailing products. Explore VP's full product line at vpracingfuels.com.
And our other sponsors, the great folks at Kicker Marine Audio, living loud. They breathe it, and it kicks. Kicker Marine Audio. Check them out at kickermarine.com. Seabold Sports, world champion powerboat racing since 1939. Racing Communications, their radios for racing. Seaway Marine, sponsoring our Formula Lights class here in 2024, specializing in Johnson, Evinrude, Gale, Chrysler, Force, Mercury outboards, as well as OMC and Merc Cruiser stern drives. Your official Johnson and Evinrude parts distributor, your one-stop boat motor shop. Find them on SeawayMarine.com. And JH Performance Boats, custom, handcrafted, shallow water bay boats built with the highest quality materials. Check them out at jhperformance.com, the great sponsors of the 2024 Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. Again, don't forget, check us out on all our social platforms. Find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, where you're seeing the live stream today. And don't forget our great partnership with Speed Sport 1 in 2024. We're going to have fully produced hour-long TV shows of our Formula One class from every race here in 2024. My partner, Kate, joining me back again. Kate, pretty cool to see the growth in the media exposure that we're seeing here on the Formula One Powerboat Championship in 2024.
Well, when it comes to Formula One, we are growing in itself. I mean, I am a part of many different aspects of racing, whether it be the small outboard racing all the way up to the H1. And every year I look forward, and every weekend I look forward to either watching or being right here to listen to the sound of those Mercuries power their way through each lap.
Yeah, and we've got the big boys back on the water. It seems like it's been forever now. The wind is picking up. It's going to be rough out there. We backed off the program yesterday knowing that today might put some of the similar, but at the end of the day, we didn't want to destroy all of our equipment yesterday before we got to racing finals on Sunday, but we look just south downriver, just past the tugboats, and the Whitecaps have reared their ugly head again. It is going to be an interesting afternoon of Formula One racing. And Kay, that win a lot of times is the real equalizer between the boats, and it doesn't necessarily allow the guy who's the fastest to be the one who finishes first.
Well, and you say that the wind, well, they've got a couple different aspects that they're dealing with. They've got underwater aspects, which is the current, ever-changing. Now they've got the wind coming against them, so they got the current going one way, the wind coming another, and as much as I would love to see the clouds disappearing, now we're going to have the glare of the sun coming down. That glare will punch off of the water right into their faces. So they've got all kinds of stuff going on out here when they're racing at over 100 miles per hour with that little tiny windshield guiding them through each turn. Got a rookie driver out here on the water. That's going to be Jensen in that 29. We've been watching him all weekend. Had some boat repairs he had to do late last night. Got those fixed up. Got all the brand new sponsor stickers on the side. I'm loving to see all of these sponsors, these new sponsors coming onto the series. If you want to be a sponsor added onto the series, keep in mind, you just said it, Thomas. There is every single social platform that your name of your company could be brought out right here at Freeport.
Yeah, here at Port Neches are all of our events across the 2024 calendar. So if you're looking to really grow your brand, check us out at F1PowerboatChampionship.com and all of our social media platforms. We can be a great vehicle to help get you the exposure you need, utilizing not only our drivers, but our live stream footage, our footage, our video coverage on Speed Sport 1 and Amazon Prime. And it's going to be a fantastic 2024. But, man, that water out there is looking absolutely brutal right now, Kay. It is going to be a rough and tumble qualifying out there. The real question is are we going to see all 15 of these drivers come back in one piece after back-to-back qualifying heats?
That is the plan, but you can even hear it through our microphones that how much this wind is picking up out there on the water. We're going to see as RJ West makes his way down to the start-finish line. He's testing out the trim on that 93 composite craft. He actually drives these boats, but on the weekdays, he's building these boats in his shops down in California. So he's a boat builder. He's working hand-in-hand with Mercury. Dave DeWald is constantly on the phone with him. I mean, every time he's like, well, Dave, how about this prop? Let's change this. Let's make this adjustment. Constantly testing out different setups. Now, here's the factor. Did he make enough adjustments? Did he do enough testing to equalize the conditions that we're dealing with today?
Man, I don't know if you can test for white caps. I mean, we've got, and that's the crazy thing for those of you, and it's calmed down a little bit here, but those of you across the world that aren't here in Port Neches watching us from wherever you are, we thank you, first off, so much for joining us today. But I'm looking downriver, and here's why we had to shorten our program yesterday, and here's why all our drivers are going to be on high alert. We have a south-running current. We have a the wind blowing from the southeast to the northwest. So we've got wind blowing north. We've got current running south. But we've got white caps going upriver.
And rollers.
When you see white caps and rollers go against the current, that tells you how stiff of a breeze you're dealing. And we know, okay, right, it's not necessarily about the speed of the wind, it's the direction of the wind. If this thing was running 20-mile-an-hour crosswind directly across the river, no big deal.
Yeah.
But when it comes upriver, or upriver is specifically, it makes those rollers really rough. If this wind was coming out of the north going south with the current, this thing would be flat glass and we'd be just fine. But it makes it really tricky. And, I think this is going to favor the folks like RJ West, Chris Fairchild, those guys who have been out here for 15, 20 years running these Formula One boats. Now, RJ may be a little bit newer to the larger boats, hashtag not a rookie from 2019. We all remember that. But he's been all over the world. He's the current radio man for F1 H2O driver Brent Dillard. He's been on the Qatar racing team in many capacities. So he is very familiar. And being a boat builder, the hydrodynamics and the attitude and what water does to the boat is very important to him because he builds the boat. So he's kind of got to know that stuff. And those extra skill sets that have been developed over years, I think, are going to come into play. I think the fast drivers that maybe don't have as much experience, the Dylan Andersons, the Sean Loves, and even as far as the Spencer Loves, who's run for a very long time. But again, maybe doesn't run in this rough water. Maybe Spencer's not the best, the best of it example. But we've got Grant Schubert, right, a fast driver, but young, right?
He's got to be tired.
Yeah, he's going to be tired by the end of the day. He went a tri-hull heat. Now he's going back-to-back F1s. Then he's going to get back in his tri-hull for the tri-hull final. Then he's going to get out of his tri-hull and back into his Formula One boat for the Formula One main event later on today.
A lot of these experienced drivers out here on the water, excited to be out here. Unfortunately, yesterday we had to call it short just because of the weather. We're trying to pack all of that racing that we missed into yesterday, pack it into today's water. But as you said, Thomas, the wind is starting to freshen. The water is starting to get a little bit choppy out there for these drivers. They're out there on the course, kind of taking a little feel for things, seeing where it's at, seeing where the aspects of the water are. Yesterday, we saw Sean Love, unfortunately, took a little bit of I'd call it a submarine. Also, I watched Andrew Tate almost dunk it, along with, we had Shepard, he almost went down under. These drivers are doing everything they can to keep the boat above water, but, Thomas, we've got one heck of a race with a lot of these fast drivers out here all hunting down the checkered flag. But that will be coming on later on this afternoon. Right now, we are still doing qualifying. This is where the key factor is and puts them on the pole position on where they are going to start off this dock.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be tricky, right? We always talk about how important pole position is. Maybe not as important today.
Why do you figure that?
Because it's so rough. If you catch a wrong hole coming down the back straightaway, even in that clean water, and you do, and even a part of what happens to Sean Love or Jeff Reno yesterday, that clean water doesn't mean there is no such thing as clean water on the south half of the course.
Yeah.
No matter if you're in first or in 14th, it's going to be rough out there. And, so you're going to need some lightheartedness in your approach, right? You can't take things too seriously, because if you get yourself too frustrated out there, it's going to cause mental frustration that I think is going to really affect their concentration out there, and that's where maybe that was why the 52 of Chris Rinker was just kind of in a class of his own yesterday, because he just wasn't taking it. He was like, hey, I can't control Mother Nature. She's going to do what she wants to do. And we had an opportunity to chat with him and have some fun with him here. And I guess this is what happens when you're out in front. You get all the pub and all the video coverage. Let's kick it over to our friend Chris Rinker, what he had to say yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, so starting early this week, we had some massive storms hit the Houston area all the way over to Beaumont and down into the Port Neches area, and dumped an absolute ton of water on us. And the rivers are just swelling. I mean, the amount of water flowing into the Gulf right now is unreal. So we're dealing with a lot of high water. We're dealing with a lot of debris. Fortunately, I didn't see hardly any debris today, and hopefully it's the same tomorrow. But with that, we had lots of rain and lots of wind, and the wind brings rough water. The tide is kind of a factor in this river, so when you got water pushing back against the wind, you get some swells and some crazy rough water. And fortunately, we were able to manage our way through the turns. Turn 3 and 4, I believe, were pretty bad. But we've got a good setup with this moor and absolutely dominated today.
Wow, look at that. Grant Schubert showing us what these water conditions are out here.
It's rough.
This was supposed to be a hot lap, but these drivers are like, I ain't going to blow it up on a submarine on air.
Yeah, I leaned in and said slowest hot lap ever. And I think where is this race going to be run this weekend? The south half of the course,
yes.
Right? The north half of the course is going to be pretty typical. And again, it's the part of the course where even though the wind is picked up, we're now clipping at about 15 miles an hour. It's not affecting the water on that end of the course, but down here on the south end, if you lose your concentration for a moment, right? And you never want to lose concentration when you're going 100 plus miles an hour in a boat. Because for those of you who've never been in a boat going 100 miles an hour, thankfully the both of us here talking, we have been able to do that.
I have.
So have I.
Yep.
2-seater, right? I wasn't driving.
I was.
Yeah, fair enough, right? It's hard to be. I think you maybe get in the top class in stock outboard or an H1 Unlimited. You can be my size and actually be competitive. Prior to that, it's pretty tough. Tunnel boat racing, almost impossible. However, they have introduced this class called tri-hulls, which I think I could probably get by. Hey.
Oh, are we going to see you? You and I should go out in a tri-hull against each other.
Oh, boy. Yeah, an exhibition maybe,
I
right?
get Jerry's boat. He already gave it to me.
That's cool. I'll take Neil Marsh's.
Whatever. I think you need to, you know what? Let's take it back a couple years. And I think you should go out in Cole's boat with the mullet. Remember your big curly hair you had back then?
I did,
during
yes.
your COVID hair.
Yes, I had the big, long, curly fro, and and then unfortunately, I started losing a little bit more of it. And realized, it doesn't look as good as I thought it did, so I went back to the short hair.
It looks very nice, by the way.
Oh,
and I'm sure your wife loves it.
Oh no, looks like the 92 of Dean Comer is coming in.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what happened with the 92 of Dean Comer, but he's pulling it up on the trailer.
Well, they are still trying to set up on the dock here, so if it is something, hopefully it's something very minor. they'll be able to make that adjustment and get him back out onto the water. He has been fighting a couple different issues, not only on the race course but off the race course, so we're going to have to wait and see if they're just going to bring it up.
Yeah, yesterday they went to go fill up the big Ram 2500 and got a little water. Must have gotten some bad gas.
Yes.
And after racing was done yesterday, I walking from one pit to the other, because for those of you who've been to Port Neches in the past, we used to have kind of 2 pits separated by the Neches River Wheelhouse. Well, they're now building another restaurant next to the Neches River Wheelhouse, which is going to be great because it's going to create a ton more spectator viewing areas. But that took away one of our pits, so we had to move the pits back a few blocks off the river. And I'm walking from one pit area to the other to have a conversation with a couple of drivers and check in with them. And there I see Dean Comer upside down in the engine compartment of his truck. And I'm like, Dean, what are you doing? Well, they had to change all the filters. They had to drain all the gas. Thankfully, they got it back running. But, you know, he was
still working on it.
He was hoping to be able to focus more on the boat, not necessarily the car itself. But it looks like
Johnny Fleming's still standing down here on the beach waiting for his boat to come up.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like they're trying to still get him in. I thought he was in the water already. I don't know if he's decided to pull off right now. I know some of the smaller teams, this is, you know, it's hard for them because this is so rough. They want to make sure that they're not damaging their equipment too much, or maybe he had another problem. I mean, it seems like if something could go wrong at times for the 9 of Johnny Fleming, it does go wrong. I don't see his boat.
But I don't see his boat. Oh, here it comes. Here I see the Fleming. I see Fleming Manufacturing making his way down.
It's amazing. He's like the closest boat to the ramp, but then everybody else gets down there and he's like, well, guys, now I can't get out. So he's the closest guy to the ramp, but ends up being the last boat in the water because he's got to wait for everybody else.
And he looks so calm and collective sitting down there. Me as a driver, I'd be like, okay, everybody's out on the water. I should be in my boat. I should be out there right now.
Well, that's, you know what, I mean, that's what you get with Johnny Fleming, right?
Yeah.
Johnny's he's never too high, he's never too low. He's always right in the middle, which is really what you want out of your Formula One driver. You know, a spaz like me is probably a very difficult person to deal with if I was a driver. I would be, you know, if some little thing went wrong, the world is over, right? If some little thing went right, I'm the best person in the world, right? I'm amazing.
Are you saying you have an attitude?
I mean,
I have yet to see it. I don't want to, but I've yet to. You always have a smile on your face.
I live with my emotions on my sleeve, right? Well, that's because thankfully with announcing, right, I always get to win.
We always get out fun up here.
Right, because I always get to announce the race. I don't have to worry about, you know, being frustrated because the other guy has kicked my butt. I'm up here, you know, putting on a show for these great folks, and we get to, you know, let them know what's going on, give them all the intimate details, and that to me is always fun. And so I don't really have to worry about that. But I can assure you, if I was out there, if I had a bad heat, you're like, I don't want to talk to Yarborough.
Oh, yeah.
I'm one of those guys. And having so many of those even-keeled personalities, they gravitate to this because they can handle the bad and they can just as much handle the good. Because I think that's the one thing in racing particularly, and even across all sports, that most athletes don't focus on is how to handle winning well. It's a very tough skill to have. And you'll see some people that, you know, when they win, it's the best thing in the world, but, right, they go so high that they'll fall so far.
Okay, I got an example for you.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so my daughter played volleyball. I coached her volleyball team for 2 years. We went undefeated. Not to praise myself, but, you know. So we went 2 years undefeated. Then she decided to make a drastic change and switch over to softball, which was great because I was excited. I coached her softball team. They lost their first game. And I sat there and I was so excited. And all these parents are like, why are you excited? We just lost. I said, my daughter has not yet had that feeling of losing. She has only had the feeling of winning. And you know what happens when you lose? You work harder.
You learn a lot more about yourself, too.
You work harder. You learn more about yourself, the respect. And she has worked so hard at pitching, at batting, at being a shortstop ever since that moment. We see this with the drivers. We've seen some of these drivers who have won some, lost some, and every time that we see them lose one, their heads are inside of that motor, inside of that boat, working harder and harder to get that top podium finish. Yesterday, we unfortunately saw Sean Love take a little bit of a submarine drive, but with the work of him and all of his teammates, he's back here on the water. That shows you the drive that these drivers and crews have. Another example is the Anderson team of the Anderson Marine out of Nashville, Tennessee. They got a brand new Hoffman boat in October. They were able to get it together about 3 days before this race at Port Neches. The last post that I saw was on Thursday afternoon saying we're putting fuel into the motor. And then Friday afternoon, here comes the Anderson team, still working hard to try and get that boat out here on the water. It looks so pretty out there. That 17 of Anderson Marine looks amazing.
Yeah, it does, but you know who's not amazing is Mother Nature. She's reared her ugly head, and again, we're going to bring our tri-hulls back out to run their final because we've got to let this wind. I mean, we've got now wind clipping in excess of 15, almost closing in on 20 miles an hour. And with the direction of the wind, as we were talking about in the Whitecaps, they just can't in good conscience put the safety of the drivers. I mean, these guys are already risking so much just being out there. You can't in good conscience, put people out there where like we were talking, with this wind, we're going to see multiple wrecks at a minimum.
You and I were just talking about that.
That's not what we want. That's not what we're here for, right? I recognize that as fans of anything, we love a little carnage.
We just want to watch them get to the extreme, but not over the extreme. That is what I love to watch. Same thing with NASCAR. When you see them going side by side and they're coming around in the high bank turn, that's the same thing we want to see out here. But we want to see them finish. That is the big goal.
Absolutely, and it's pretty rough out there, and so again, you can feel the wind here. For those of you not here in Port Neches, the wind is really becoming pretty rough. I'm having to hold our canopy in
Thank
place.
goodness you're tall, because I can't even reach that.
And so we're gonna park the F1s and hoping that this wind's gonna die down a little bit. We're gonna bring our Texas tri-hulls back out here. So we're gonna take a quick break here, but we're gonna come back with the conclusion of the Texas tri-hull races. While you've got a few minutes here, we load the tri-hulls. Don't forget, swing down, check out the Formula One Powerboat Championship official merch tent. We've got all sorts of merch. The muscle shirts were quite fantastic, I thought. I really love the yellow ones with the kind of multicolored logo on them. I was like, man, I'm going to have to get myself one of those.
I couldn't decide, so I bought 3.
Yeah, well, the problem for me is they don't necessarily always carry 2 and 3X shirts, that's my own problem. But a great group down there. Debbie Siebold, that's been running our merch for years, is fantastic. She'll take great care of you. And all the food on the Midway, the Amish donuts, the gator on. Now you can get some gator on a stick,
go get my gator.
Shrimp on a stick, boudin balls, and all the great concessions down there. Limeade, lemonades, hot dogs. We've got all the Miller Lite, Coors Miller Lite, Budweiser, from Del Papa Distributing and Giglio Distributing down there. So wet your whistle. We're hoping this wind's going to die down just a little bit, give us an opportunity to get the F1s out later. But thankfully, we've got bumper boats at 65 miles an hour coming up here in just a moment.
Mercury Racing was forged in the heat of competition. The will to win is in our DNA. Competition isn't just what we do, it's our proving ground. It's about the pursuit of power, performance, and endurance that pushes our limits and yours. We create premium marine power to take you faster and farther. The world offers limits. Mercury Racing offers freedom. Live wide open.
Formula One powerboats are sleek, glamorous, lightweight, and extremely maneuverable, with a power-to-weight ratio among the highest in all of motorsports. Their performance speaks for itself. Acceleration from 0 to 100 miles an hour in under 5 seconds. Top speeds in excess of 120. Cornering at 100 miles an hour, all while pulling 7 Gs in the process. The competition begins with a field of 20 boats lined up on the start pontoon. Engine silent, awaiting the modified Le Mans start. When the green flag drops, these world-class drivers ignite their rockets to life. Engines roaring and rooster tails flying, they simultaneously accelerate towards the first turn. With tight courses close to the shoreline, made up of right and left-hand turns that offer deck-to-deck, heart-pounding action and guarantee fans up close and front and center views, no 2 laps are the same due to the ever-changing wind and water conditions, making the F1 boat one of the most challenging racing machines to conquer on the planet. Founded in 2017, the Formula One Powerboat Championship is an 8-race series contested across North America, featuring weekend-long community events highlighted by the Formula One boats and supporting classes. U.S. powerboat racing's 120-year heritage began with the formation of its governing body, the American Powerboat Association. For the last 6 decades, Formula One powerboats have been the pinnacle classification in powerboat racing. Recognized as one of the world's most spectacular racing vehicles, these events have evolved into more than a series of one-day races, developing into marquee, multi-interest, weekend-long community festivals, producing some of the largest entertainment events in major markets, attracting tourism dollars, benefiting the local economies, while delighting the global audience. Large on-site event attendance is coupled with mass media exposure through various channels, regionally, nationally, and globally. Our live streaming programs give each event international reach on various social and traditional channels, reaching millions of fans. Our marketing partners enjoy outstanding return on investment with our unique sport and custom flexible approach of the Formula One Powerboat Championship.
So we have here is a tri-hull. Me, my brother Tanner, and my grandpa Jerry run tri-hulls, and my father runs F1. So 3 generations of rinker racing out here this weekend.
Oh man, the condition of the boat, it's done for. I'll be done for the weekend, but in this boat. But thanks to my grandpa, he's going to let me run his boat tomorrow and hopefully earn some valuable points for this season.
Well, he's got a big hole in the bottom of it, and I got in trouble in that last heat, and I think they're going to throw me out, period. So I'm going to let him drive it. I mean, it's a man's boat. He may have a little trouble, but he can drive a boat. And he's got the second best prop we have. Mason has the first best. They come in and they're like little babies. Oh, my back hurts. My neck hurts from my helmet getting thrown around like this. It doesn't bother me at all. I mean, it really doesn't.
Hello? Hello? I don't know what to do with my hands.
This race and this series has the best rescue in the world. I mean, I'm very comfortable knowing that they've got my back if something happens. And over the years, something has happened. So I've been upside down once or twice. It's okay.
Welcome, race fans. We're here at Port Neches for the 2024 Riverfest. I was able to catch up to Andrew Tate, a very busy guy throughout the year of 2024, but we're going to look back at 2023, your rookie year. Give us a little intake of what happened.
Well, it was definitely a learning curve for us, a steep one at that. I think we're still kind of gelling as a team and figuring out what we know and what we don't know, where we need to get better, and really what we need to work on to be competitive with some of the big dogs here on the series that have been doing it year after year. So it started off rough here last year in Port Neches. We tipped over. The water was rough. The team worked all night Saturday to put it back together, and we were back on the water on Sunday. So definitely a learning experience, and we're going to continue to learn, hopefully be a little more competitive this year.
back. Oh, look out, we got to blow over. Oh, they somehow saved it.
We took a year off last year just due to some health issues. Some unforeseen stuff bit me. I call it a software glitch. Quite frankly, we're going to go out here and take a few rounds and see if my head is straight. The two boats that I'm in are expertly prepared by Kevin McCullough and the McCullough race team. I have won national championships, I think, with both, so I'm familiar with them. We're going to go see if I forgot what I know and see if I can make them work.
Welcome back, race fans. We are here for the 2024 Port Neches Riverfest. I'm here with RJ West of Composite Crafts Racing, along with Chuck Skelton Racing in the 93. You went out there in the water, did a lot of testing. What all were you testing for?
Really just trying to get the feel of the course. It's always a little bit different to where they put the buoys down and stuff like that. So I'm out there just trying to get comfortable and learn my marks. And then at that point, after that, we start doing a little bit of prop testing and try to see what direction we need to go to be fast.
Well, you're one of the lucky ones that gets to work hand in hand, not only with Mercury Racing, but DeWald Props. That combination makes you right up there on the top podium pretty much every weekend.
Well, Dave's a good friend of mine. I was literally on the phone with him when I got back to the trailer. But to be honest, our R&D actually helps everybody here because they get to get the same props we got. There's no preference here, so that's how it works.
Yes, but working with Mercury, you've done a lot of changes over the last few years. Give us some insight on what they have done to help you be successful.
Well, it's a big deal. We've ran 3 different motor combinations in the last 3 years, and they've been trying to hone on to make it work with the 2-stroke motors as well to be equal. And so now we're on a whole new platform here with a V8, an actual production V8 under the cowling. Seems to be really competitive. I think it's going to be a really interesting weekend.
Well, last year you ended off with a very good year. You've already started off this season with a great win down in Parker, Arizona, and now we're already seeing you out there, and you were fast out there in testing.
Well, they don't give trophies out for testing, so we're going to work hard. I mean, we're going to work as hard as we can and just try to be competitive.
Well, good luck for the rest of the weekend. RJ West of the 93 Composite Craft, Chuck Skelton Racing.
So this is a Formula One boat, and it's a brand new setup for us, new boat this season. So we've been working to get everything ready. Time trials, we started in 6th place going out there, and we knew it was going to be a little rough, but the boat got through everything pretty well. We started in 6th, we moved up to 4th, and we were getting ready to take over 3rd place right there. And we were right on his hip and just hit some crazy waves. You can't really see everything in front of you all the time because you got spray in front of you and other boats. So I didn't really see these big waves coming in, and it popped up the boat. And as the boat was coming down, it went down into another wave and just completely submerged under the water. It did a little damage to the front of the boat here, but got the motor a little wet. So we're working through it right now, getting everything cleaned out, getting the boat ready to go for the next race. So yeah, we should be back out there later today, and hopefully the weather cooperates. It gets a little crazy out here at this course, especially because you got waves bouncing off the sides of the area here where the docks are, and that it kind of forms a huge hole there. So like when you're driving a boat, you're going full speed, if you see a hole there, your boat's sometimes just going to sink into it, and there's not a whole lot you can do. But we got people on the radio, we do the best that we can, try and get a heads up on what's coming up ahead of us and what to look out for. But yeah, you can't watch for everything. And when you're on asphalt racing cars and stuff, you can kind of know what to expect a little more. But out there on the water, it's always up in the air.
Welcome back, race fans. We are here at the 2024 Port Neches Riverfest. I am here with Dustin Terry. Dustin, you've got a whole new scheme going on over there in the pits with a brand new paint job and a lot of new drivers for the Outlaw group.
Yeah, it was supposed to start out as just me and Grant Schubert, and then we added in Travis. We had a 3rd spot on the boat, and then a 3rd spot in the trailer. Then all of a sudden Jeremiah came into the team. So, and then before we knew it, all the tri-hole guys wanted to have their own division. Well, that's just, they help us out so much that all of a sudden it just became a huge team. So yeah, so now we have 4 tri-holes, 4 F1 boats, and everybody's in crazy paint jobs. We've been working on it for a couple months now, and we're excited to show off everything.
Well, the paint job is a little vintage. Kind of explain where you got the idea from the new paint job.
So I think we're all fans of old school because that's where we came from. We kind of, the first thing you draw whenever you're a kid that's a boat racer, you start drawing race boats whenever you're little. So the boats I drew whenever I was little, that's what I'm trying to mimic. But yeah, last year I ran a Bill Siebold tribute boat. It was Mercury Racing's 50th anniversary, and they had all this Mercury Racing 50 year. I gave a tribute to what the boats were 50 years ago, and that was Bill Siebold's 190. So we want to change it up every year. We don't want the same looking boat every year. So this year I went with something that he ran in the late 70s, early 80s. So another tribute to him, but I put my 03 back on. I wasn't winning enough to carry the 190, so I have the 03 back on for this season.
Well, the 03 sure has paid off because he's already started off the year with a top podium finish just last weekend in Freeport.
Yeah, we won in Freeport. We were excited. All the guys that were there were all trying new stuff. The only thing that we did was we just threw a V8 on. So V8s are good. We tested them in January, tested them again in March. I've done a lot of testing on them, so I think I was just a bit ahead of the curve on those guys. But this race coming up, a lot of guys been testing all over the country. So we'll see. We'll see where we measure up this weekend.
So what do you think about the new motor? I mean, do you think that this is going to be the evolution for Mercury? I think they're just coming along really well.
They are. They have been hands-on with us, and we're sticking by their side. They have done so much work to keep developing, keep tuning. We ran a bunch of different motor packages in January with Mercury, so that's exciting for me as a driver to be involved in the development of something. And they came out with that V8, and it measured up everywhere perfect with what the two-strokes are. So I'm excited about it. I would be back in a two-stroke if I didn't think this was going to be the winning package.
Well, what do you feel about the horsepower change? You've got a lot of difference there. I mean, what adjustments have you had to make as a driver inside the cockpit to adjust to the new horsepower?
Well, so it's a little bit different. The motor's heavier, so we thought that we would be experiencing more of issues with setup in the boat and balance of the boat. Come to find out, the additional power just kind of pushes you through the problems that the V6 had. So not much faster, just more torque, and it comes off the line a little bit better. We could go into a long explanation as to why it leaves a little bit better, but just if you were at a race, we'd be happy to have a couple beers and tell that conversation with you over a long period of time.
All right, well, we're going to let you get back to work, and we're going to have seen you later on this afternoon with the Outlaw Group with that brand new paint scheme. It's always fun to see Dustin Terry out on the water.
So we're running the 2.5 Carby motor, provided by Mercury, obviously. It's a little bit older technology, but it's tried and it's proven. A lot of the other guys are running the new V8s from Mercury, the four-stroke motors. I think that's kind of the way the series is swaying, the wave of the future. We made a pretty big investment here with the 2.5 stuff, so we're going to see where we're at, where we stack up to these guys with the new motors, and hopefully we can stick with the new guys and their big power units. The V8s are going to be big, bigger boats, new design, so I think that they have some things to learn. We obviously have things to learn too, but as far as our power unit goes, it's tried and it's true. Our propeller program seems to be on point. So I think maybe at the beginning of the year, we're hoping to kind of be at the top half of the field here with what we have while these other guys figure out their new power plants.
Yeah, so starting early this week, we had some massive storms hit the Houston area all the way over to Beaumont and down into the Port Neches area and dumped an absolute ton of water on us. And the rivers are just swelling. I mean, the amount of water flowing into the Gulf right now is unreal. So we're dealing with a lot of high water. We're dealing with a lot of debris. I mean, fortunately, I didn't see hardly any debris today, and hopefully it's the same tomorrow. But with that, we had lots of rain and lots of wind, and the wind brings rough water. The tide is kind of a factor in this river, so when you got water pushing back against the wind, you get some swells and some crazy rough water. And fortunately, we were able to manage our way through the turns. Turn 3 and 4, I believe, were pretty bad. But we've got a good setup with this moor and absolutely dominated today.
Yeah, you got to win some to lose some, but unfortunately, you have gone upside down a couple of times. Kind of tell us about your training when you have to do that. All the drivers do have to take what's called a capsule training. Explain to our viewers what a capsule training is like.
So what we do is it's the safety cell that you sit in. They belt you in. You go under with divers. They teach you everything that you're going to do. So you'll sit in there, belt in. They'll run you through what's going to happen, take you to a pool. They'll flip you upside down. You've got to climb out of there. Divers are there with you. They'll run you through a couple of times, make sure you can get out, and then they're going to put you back in, make you stay in there, feed you oxygen, make sure you know how to do that in case you're ever injured or you're stuck, you can't get out of there. You're going to have to breathe oxygen, make sure you can do that a couple of times, and then after that you pass the training and you're good to go. You can get in the F1, tri-hole, 45, anything like that. So it's just our basic safety training that you have to pass in order to get in a tunnel boat or any sport boat out here.
So, I mean, obviously I ran tri-hole for several years. Won the Nationals when I was 16 and mini Grand Prix. It's kind of where I got my feet wet. And ran tri-hauls and then decided to step up. Did a little testing and stuff with Ashton and kind of decided we would team up, and we put together a pretty good package. And we've kind of grown it from there. I've got 2 boys and still an 81-year-old father racing in tri-hauls. And so there's a lot of passion, a lot of love, a lot of rinker racing still to come. So I'm looking forward to see what they do. Tanner and Mason are doing an incredible job. Mason did really good in Freeport last weekend. It was super neat to see him win. I broke down on the side, and I was more excited than I would be if I had won the race. So it was really cool to watch.
So this is a Formula One boat, and it's a brand new setup for us, new boat this season. So we've been working to get everything ready. Time trials, we started in 6th place going out there, and we knew it was going to be a little rough, but the boat got through everything pretty well. We started in 6th, we moved up to 4th, and we were getting ready to take over 3rd place right there, and we were right on his hip and just hit some crazy waves. You can't really see everything in front of you all the time because you got spray in front of you and other boats, so I didn't really see these big waves coming in, and it popped up the boat, and as the boat was coming down, it went down into another wave and just completely submerged under the water. It did a little damage to the front of the boat here, but got the motor a little wet. So we're working through it right now, getting everything cleaned out, getting the boat ready to go for the next race. So yeah, we should be back out there later today. And hopefully the weather cooperates. It gets a little crazy out here at this course, especially because you got waves bouncing off the sides of the area here where the docks are, and that it kind of forms a huge hole there. So like when you're driving a boat, you're going full speed, if you see a hole there, your boat's sometimes just going to sink into it, and there's not a whole lot you can do. But we got people on the radio, we do the best that we can, try and get a heads up on what's coming up ahead of us and what to look out for. But yeah, you can't watch for everything, and when you're on asphalt racing cars and stuff, you can kind of know what to expect a little more, but out there on the water, it's always up in the air.
Okay, so water depth is a huge thing when it comes to a boat racing race course. You know, dirt depth on a dirt track and blacktop depth doesn't affect a car nearly as much as water depth. The surface is reasonably controlled by what's going on the bottom. So the faster the current, the more the surface changes. The slower the current, the less it changes. Here, because we've had torrential downpours for quite some time, the water is moving extremely fast, which would typically make the surface a very rugged surface because anything that's on the bottom affects it. This is a very deep shipping channel. It's 70, 80, 90 feet deep through here. So all that ruggedness on the bottom, first of all, the container ships scrub it smooth, but it's so deep that it doesn't really affect it. The biggest weather that affects this race course is the wind. It typically doesn't affect turn 2, the one up here, because that one usually lays pretty flat. But turn 1 can get rough, ugly, and nasty when the wind is up, and that's when it becomes fun. Wind is the other factor that boat racers have to worry about. It depends upon which way it's coming. It depends upon whether it's gusty, whether it's consistent. And I like a tricky course. It's a lot of fun.
Welcome back, race fans. We are here for the 2024 Port Neches Riverfest. I'm here with RJ West of Composite Crafts Racing, along with Chuck Skelton Racing in the 93. You went out there in the water, did a lot of testing. What all were you testing for?
Really just trying to get the feel of the course. It's always a little bit different to where they put the buoys down and stuff like that. So I'm out there just trying to get comfortable and learn my marks. And then at that point, after that, we start doing a little bit of prop testing and try to see what direction we need to go to be fast.
Well, you're one of the lucky ones that gets to work hand in hand, not only with Mercury Racing, but DeWald Props. That combination makes you right up there on the top podium pretty much every weekend.
Well, Dave's a good friend of mine. I was literally on the phone with him when I got back to the trailer. But to be honest, our R&D actually helps everybody here because they get to get the same props we got. There's no preference here, so that's how it works.
Yes, but working with Mercury, you've done a lot of changes over the last few years. Give us some insight on what they have done to help you be successful.
Well, it's a big deal. We've ran 3 different motor combinations in the last 3 years, and they've been trying to hone on to make it work with the 2-stroke motors as well to be equal. And so now we're on a whole new platform here with a V8, an actual production V8 under the cowling. Seems to be really competitive. I think it's going to be a really interesting weekend.
Well, last year you ended off with a very good year. You've already started off this season with a great win down in Parker, Arizona, and now we're already seeing you out there, and you were fast out there in testing.
Well, they don't give trophies out for testing, so we're going to work hard. I mean, we're going to work as hard as we can and just try to be competitive.
Well, good luck for the rest of the weekend. RJ West of the 93 Composite Craft, Chuck Skelton Racing.
So we have here is a tri-hull. Me, my brother Tanner, and my grandpa Jerry run tri-hulls, and my father runs F1. So 3 generations of rinker racing out here this weekend.
Oh man, the condition of the boat, it's done for. I'll be done for the weekend, but in this boat. But thanks to my grandpa, he's going to let me run his boat tomorrow and hopefully earn some valuable points for this season.
Well, he's got a big hole in the bottom of it, and I got in trouble in that last heat, and I think they're going to throw me out, period. So I'm going to let him drive it. I mean, it's a man's boat. He may have a little trouble, but he can drive a boat. And he's got the second best prop we have. Mason has the first best. They come in and they're like little babies. Oh, my back hurts. My neck hurts from my helmet getting thrown around like this. It doesn't bother me at all. I mean, it really doesn't.
Hello? Hello? I don't know what to do with my hands.
This race and this series has the best rescue in the world. I mean, I'm very comfortable knowing that they've got my back if something happens. And over the years, something has happened. So I've been upside down once or twice. It's okay.
Welcome back, race fans. We are here at the 2024 Port Neches Riverfest. I am here with Dustin Terry. Dustin, you've got a whole new scheme going on over there in the pits with a brand new paint job and a lot of new drivers for the Outlaw group.
Yeah, it was supposed to start out as just me and Grant Schubert, and then we added in Travis. We had a 3rd spot on the boat, and then a 3rd spot in the trailer. Then all of a sudden Jeremiah came into the team. So, and then before we knew it, all the tri-hull guys wanted to have their own division. Well, that's just, they help us out so much that all of a sudden it just became a huge team. So yeah, so now we have 4 tri-hulls, 4 F1 boats, and everybody's in crazy paint jobs. We've been working on it for a couple months now, and we're excited to show off everything.
Well, the paint job is a little vintage. Kind of explain where you got the idea from the new paint job.
So I think we're all fans of old school because that's where we came from. We kind of, the first thing you draw whenever you're a kid that's a boat racer, you start drawing race boats whenever you're little. So the boats I drew whenever I was little, that's what I'm trying to mimic. But yeah, last year I ran a Bill Siebold tribute boat. It was Mercury Racing's 50th anniversary, and they had all this Mercury Racing 50 year. I gave a tribute to what the boats were 50 years ago, and that was Bill Siebold's 190. So we want to change it up every year. We don't want the same looking boat every year. So this year I went with something that he ran in the late 70s, early 80s. So another tribute to him, but I put my 03 back on. I wasn't winning enough to carry the 190, so I have the 03 back on for this season.
Well, the 03 sure has paid off because he's already started off the year with a top podium finish just last weekend in Freeport.
Yeah, we won in Freeport. We were excited. All the guys that were there were all trying new stuff. The only thing that we did was we just threw a V8 on. So V8s are good. We tested them in January, tested them again in March. I've done a lot of testing on them, so I think I was just a bit ahead of the curve on those guys. But this race coming up, a lot of guys been testing all over the country. So we'll see. We'll see where we measure up this weekend.
So what do you think about the new motor? I mean, do you think that this is going to be the evolution for Mercury? I think they're just coming along really well.
They are. They have been hands-on with us, and we're sticking by their side. They have done so much work to keep developing, keep tuning. We ran a bunch of different motor packages in January with Mercury, so that's exciting for me as a driver to be involved in the development of something. And they came out with that V8, and it measured up everywhere perfect with what the two-strokes are. So I'm excited about it. I would be back in a two-stroke if I didn't think this was going to be the winning package.
Well, what do you feel about the horsepower change? You've got a lot of difference there. I mean, what adjustments have you had to make as a driver inside the cockpit to adjust to the new horsepower?
Well, so it's a little bit different. The motor's heavier, so we thought that we would be experiencing more of issues with setup in the boat and balance of the boat. Come to find out, the additional power just kind of pushes you through the problems that the V6 had. So not much faster, just more torque, and it comes off the line a little bit better. We could go into a long explanation as to why it leaves a little bit better, but just if you were at a race, we'd be happy to have a couple beers and tell that conversation with you over a long period of time.
All right, well, we're going to let you get back to work, and we're going to have seen you later on this afternoon with the Outlaw Group with that brand new paint scheme. It's always fun to see Dustin Terry out on the water.
So currently I'm running a composite craft built by RJ West, running a 254 stroke made by Mercury Racing. It's a good setup. It's a work in progress. Currently racing against the 2.5 for Mercury, and all sorts of holes. The 2.5s are a little more agile than the 4 strokes, and that's something I'm trying to work towards.
Oh, look out, we got a blow over. Oh, they somehow stayed it.
Yeah, you got to win some to lose some, but unfortunately, you have gone upside down a couple of times. Kind of tell us about your training when you have to do that. All the drivers do have to take what's called a capsule training. Explain to our viewers what a capsule training is like.
So what we do is it's the safety cell that you sit in. They belt you in. You go under with divers. They teach you everything that you're going to do. So you'll sit in there, belt in. They'll run you through what's going to happen. Take you to a pool, they'll flip you upside down. You've got to climb out of there. Divers are there with you. They'll run you through a couple of times, make sure you can get out, and then they're going to put you back in, make you stay in there, feed you oxygen, make sure you know how to do that in case you're ever injured or you're stuck, you can't get out of there. You're going to have to breathe oxygen, make sure you can do that a couple of times, and then after that you pass the training and you're good to go. You can get in the F1, tri-hole, 45, anything like that. So it's just our basic safety training that you have to pass in order to get in a tunnel boat or any sport boat out here.
All right, race fans, Thomas Yarbrough, they call me the Noise of the North, coming back here live from the Port Neches Riverfest here in 2023. Well, we know that Mother Nature has been a thorn in the side all weekend long, but I've got some good news. You've got a couple of hours to get a nice cocktail or two in, see all the rest of the festivities here at the Port Neches Riverfest. We are going to be on hold until 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, where we will run the Tri-Hall final. And then at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, we will run the Formula One final. Unfortunately, due to the 20-plus mile-an-hour winds and the tides that have created whitecaps across the entire race course, for those of you not here in Port Neches, you might look at your TV screen, your phone, or your favorite viewing device and go, well, Tom, it doesn't look that bad. I can assure you, from here, there are whitecaps everywhere across the course, and it is just unsafe right now. However, in a couple of hours, that wind is going to die down, and it's going to create great racing conditions. So those of you here locally, I mean, there is more food than you could possibly consume in an afternoon. But I put a challenge to you out there. Try it. How much can you eat? How many boudin balls can you have? What about, I had some gator on a stick. Fantastic. With a nice lemonade. We got limeades. We got Amish donuts. We got gyros. We got turkeys on a stick. There's sausages, pork kebabs. There's everything over here. We got all the great Miller, Coors, Budweiser, Bud Light, brought to you by Del Papa Distributing, Giglio Distributing. We got everything to keep your whistle wet and keep you entertained for the next couple hours. Then about 3:45, make your way back down here to the shores of the Neches River as we run our final 2 races of the weekend here at the 2024 Port Neches Riverfest, the 23rd annual Port Neches Riverfest. So unfortunately, due to some wind, we're going to take a couple-hour break, but the great news is we're going to be back with the conclusion of the Port Neches Riverfest in the opening round here of the 2024 Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. We'll see you back at 4 o'clock Central. Until then, enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Those of you wherever you are across the world, gives you a couple hours, get some chores done, maybe go grab some grub before you get right back in front of your TV. We'll see you at 4 p.m. Central.